has supplied us with. So KOMDRX we've been talking about a good amount because obviously they played on Sunday. The only way that Rise Group chances stay alive is if Bro win, Legend Group, sorry, is if Bro win with a 2-1 scoreline.
Yeah.
If Bro win 2-0, then they can't make it into Legend Group. And if D+ win at all, they can't make it into Legend Group. So very specific outcomes needed for KOMDRX to make it. We kind of saw that the odds were very low for them when we discussed it at the start of the week.
Yeah. We are going to see the Lucian banned here. There's a lot of stuff to ban, and we're seeing stuff like Karma, like Rumble get through.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen some of these picks toned down a little bit, like the Karma. But I think, yeah, it's at the point where there's a lot of stuff that you really want to remove from the game, and you kind of have to pick and choose at this point. Varus has kind of felt like the one that stuck it and maintained it. Orianna a good amount as well. But this time, so Varus Lee Sin banned, Orianna is available, Rumble is available, Jarvan is available, Bard Ezreal available. There's a lot of things on the cards, a lot of power picks that could potentially be looked at. And I think D+ are always going to get strong picks. You know, even though they're on second pick, they will get 2 picks, and there's a lot of strong things available. It's like, what do you not want to go against in a first pick? And they end up going for the Elise ban, so not even slightly bothered about all these power picks. I like, keep the pool open. We'll just pick, we'll pick 2 of them. You only get 1 as your first choice, and it's going to be the Orianna. The Orianna definitely feeling like off the picks that get banned. That's one that people have hung on to the most, other than maybe Varus, and have kept as a consistent ban, so it makes sense they prioritize it heavily. But here, the D+, you have options. You could go for the Jarvan. You could go like Jarvan and then start picking up the Ashe Seraphine. Works pretty well. Could just end up going Rumble Jarvan. That's also very powerful. Really depends where you want to emphasize with your picks. They end up going for the Jarvan Bard, which is well interesting in my opinion. I mean, we've seen Bard have some really big performances in the right hands, but there's, as I said, a lot of power picks available. I do think this is kind of threatening Hanji and Brion if they go for a mobile bot lane like Ashe Seraphine. Playing into Bard Jarvan is dangerous.
I mean, they could just get Nautilus and Rumble. I feel like you're in a really good spot there. You have enough CC with the Nautilus. You have the Rumble. It's just very strong.
And we've kind of already seen the Nautilus into Bard rotund hitbox situation.
Yep.
So definitely something to put the pressure down there. I like the Ezreal pickup. Ezreal, obviously not a mobile, anything but, and can do a good job of mitigating some of the pressure that a Jarvan Bard puts out. Also, Ezreal Bard, pretty popular lane, not giving them the window to have that. Will D+ take a mid to match up in the Orianna here? Will they take a AD carry to pair up with Bard? There's still like Jim Bard, Kate Bard. I think there's still a lot of options for the AD carry pairing, but they opt to go for it anyway. Wanting to go for the Sivir. Not something we see paired up with Bard as much. The Spell Shield obviously has good value into the Nautilus, into the Ezreal, into the Orianna, but a short-range AD carry can feel a little bit vulnerable. Maybe you want to trim away some of these junglers that might give the Sivir a hard time. You know, that like teams have gone like the Vi Nautilus, and obviously into Sivir you can just alter. We'll start off with the Xin Zhao ban though.
Yeah, it's definitely a good shout. I think Gideon Xin Zhao has been just behind, I was going to say Kanavi, but also Owner is like an insane Xin Zhao. So it's like, I guess we just have a lot of good Xin Zhao players in the LCK, and he's really strong right now.
Fairy ban will come through as well. Pick that we saw nerfed on this patch, but priority has been rising. Cassiopeia with the Deathfire touches has been monstrous, so getting rid of that, not wanting to deal with it. I think there's, you know, options like the Rise could be an okay ban in this situation. Going for the LeBlanc instead. Obviously a Showmaker special. Presumably going to see the mid picked here. Orianna laning is a little obnoxious, so something that can match up into that is important.
Zyra mid. He was the one who did it last time into Orianna.
Yep.
I saw him laughing, and I'm like, yep, it's coming through. And they don't have to pick it. They might just hover it and then pick something normal. Yep, there's the Victor. So Victor and Sivir, that's a lot of late game damage. Victor now at a 9% win rate.
Wow. That's not so great. Yeah, it appears he has 1 win and 10 losses. Rumble, going through to the second rotation, kind of crazy that this is allowed to happen.
Yeah.
Obviously, as we said, he's been left through the bans more, but a little wild he gets this deep and still is able to be picked.
Yeah, could just pick Rumble Vi.
Could just go Rumble Vi.
And win the draft.
Yeah, Rumble Wukong also pretty fine. I feel there's options for sure right now for Gideon. Rumble Pantheon, also solid. Honestly, kind of hard to go wrong with a lot of the junglers available right now in terms of pairing with this composition. A lot of threat to the Victor, a lot of threat to the Sivir, and into the Rumble, it looks like it might just be the Cassante, which, you know, we talked a lot about the Doran's Helm helping him out, that did just get buffed. But I have some concerns for this D4 Secure composition. It's a 2-carry composition, you need your Victor and Sivir to be strong, a lot of threats on the side of Hanj and Brion, and not the easiest threats to deal with. Rumble and Orianna, I feel like, aren't always picks you can just take out of a fight early. The shockwave impact, if you dive onto an Orianna, can be massive. On top of the fact you can build things like Seekers, give her that element of safety. And obviously Ezreal, in Teddy's hands, has just been an absolute crazy pick.
Yeah, I kind of wanted the Rumble earlier on, but they got it later anyway. It's just kind of insane because they get so much comfort, so much power. Like, I don't know if Bro really could have wanted anything else. They kind of just got everything they wanted. I mean, even picking up the Nautilus early to set up the Orianna, to set up the Rumble, to get a Pantheon on top of that, I don't know. It just feels like they're kind of winning everywhere. I mean, in terms of some of the matchups, you know, the Cassante comes out to counter the Bard. I think Shu could have a fun time there. Victor and Orianna should be relatively even. I think Showmaker is going to be fine on the Victor in mid at least. But in terms of power, these picks on the side of Bro are just kind of insane, considering they got all 5 of them. So we are ready, guys. Let's hop into the rift for game number 1.
미니언들이 생성되었습니다.
Here we go, game number 1. As I definitely heard some fan cheering before the fan chant.
No way.
Breaking the law. No, I mean, he probably just doesn't know about the fan chant.
I bet it was Degon. He's been trying so hard to
sneak into the crowd and pretend like he's a Bro fan.
Incorporate himself into the Bro fandom. He's just trying to copy what did. So I could see him doing that. Trying to get a jump on the fan. That's the point of the fan chant. You chant together.
Yeah. I mean, it's understandable. Bro are a very strong team that are on a recent upswing. And it's nice to kind of get in before everyone else. Like what did.
Yeah. Showmaker getting some good trades off here into the Orianna. Obviously very confident on the Victor pick. We've seen Showmaker play it a fair few times before. But doesn't have the most impact in like 2v2s. And also, we've seen the Orianna Pantheon combo where, so can you believe, Brendan, what they do is they Pantheon stun and then they shockwave.
That's mind-blowing.
It is. It's surprising, but that is what they look to do. And I feel like a Victor is pretty vulnerable to that. They're looking to get some pressure down here. Oh, Roma, you are...
I mean, he's probably just going to have to flash. Nope, just going to walk.
There was a moment he walked up, I'm like, wow, you are... Oh, okay, he just backed off. Backed up the right amount, and he is able to mitigate that gank. Does now have information on Lucid, and Gideon hasn't done his red buff yet. Okay. Well, you don't have a mid lane at the moment, Gideon, so...
Wow. Lucid going to go pretty deep. He does miss the flag drag.
Yeah, the red buff being left till last here, and Lucid having the red buff is a lot of power early on. So think Gideon really having to respect that. The Jarvan in general, the extra attack speed is a massive aspect.
I mean, it just comes down to the wire there, nicely timed by Lucid.
Yeah, that was slick.
Kind of like getting the fake reset and then going back into the circle.
A double red picked up for Lucid, denies away Gideon's red buff, and now he's going to look to fight him.
Yeah, the Orianna's actually here first, off the TP, so this is going to be advantage, bro, for the mid and jungle. They also have the Rumble coming down, so I think Lucid just going to have to give this one up. But Gideon is super low, actually. He's going to have to flash the flag, and it's actually Gideon who does have to give up the Scuttle Crab.
Yeah, Lucid kiting away from this one, getting some good damage down, stacking up Conqueror, and using the red buff. And then, even though Showmaker's later, it's the fact he's kind of cutting off Gideon from one side, forces him to flash away. And Lucid's just going to go to his freshly spawned camps, which, if you want to maintain momentum, this makes a lot of sense. The respawn camps have more experience available to them. He's wanting to take advantage of the fact that he stole away from Gideon and managed to bully him out of his flash there as well.
Yeah. Sometimes Career is just a crazy clutch player. Doesn't happen every single game, but sometimes he'll just make that game-changing play. The first one was Bard versus Genji. And then the second one was the Seraphine ult we saw last week, which was just insanity. That one was up against HLE. And they did end up losing that series 0-2, but sometimes he just shows up and plays like a crazy man. So excited to see his Bard again.
See what he can do, if he can find some great angles. I think it was it into Ezreal as well when he found the Bard play?
I think so.
If I remember correctly, I think, yeah. Obviously a pick with a lot of potential on what it can do, the angles it can find. There's some pretty great Bard players in the LCK. Right now, I did see Namgu moving up through the river. Have a control ward in the banana brush. Oh, ult comes out from Shu. Casting pretty close to tower, but will flash away regardless. Playing it safe.
Yeah, maybe just didn't want to get chunked out there. But now he's going to be down his flash. And up against a Jarvan can get you in a lot of trouble if you don't have mobility outside of that. So we'll see if Lucid visits that lane anytime soon. Showmaker's having a fine time here in mid. I mean, Orianna's very strong. Part of her strength is her laning. But against Victor, can be a little bit of an issue because you just get outranged by the laser. And if the Victor player's good, he's just going to outpoke you.
Yeah.
And even if you go in and get some burst damage, then he can just Q and get a shield, and it gets annoying. And going for extended trades against the Victor also doesn't really work. Especially if you fall behind like he has.
Yeah, the Faded Ashes pick up early as well. Roma went for the Dark Seal, which is an investment effectively. If you can get some stacks out of that compared to the Faded Ashes damage, which already is helping Showmaker. When you get hit by an ability, there's the Faded Ashes, there's Death by a Touch. There's a lot of additional damage. Roma's going to move down and pick up this Honey Fruit. We're trying to help him out in that lane.
Yeah. Honey Fruit, much like Disengage Cones, can sometimes lead to less action. Where it's like, oh, you had an advantage, your mid laner's pushing, he's pushing the other mid laner out, getting ahead, and then the other guy just goes in the river, picks up Honey Fruit, and he's right back in it. But Disengage Cones are still worse. So
that's your tier list. So you think Scrying Orb is the best, then Honey Fruit, then Disengage Cone?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a pretty clear, I mean, it makes sense to me. I'm not sure how you feel about it.
I don't mind Honey Fruit as much.
Yeah, it happens very rarely, whereas Disengage Cones happen like once a game at least. So it's hard to beat the cones.
Yeah, that was a perfect 1,000 smite. Like the dragon's health went exactly to 1,000. Getting the max value from the smite. We don't see that, we don't see that very often. That's
it's perfect timing, you know. It allows him to get right back to his jungle at the exact right time.
He was like shocked for a second because it was a little like it was at 1,000 for a while. I was like, wait a minute.
Did I just do that? No. I think he missed that. I think he missed that one. That ranged minion.
Casting missed a cannon earlier, so he's already having a bit of a toughie.
Still ahead of you.
True.
In terms of numbers. And the numbers are really what matter. He was ahead on CS, and he's 53 gold ahead. Massive. Career trying to come up here and make the best of casting not having flash. Nice dodge there on the Cassante play. And the second they say Gideon, they say, well, I guess we're not going to do this. His career's going to go out. Nice little hook here from Namgung, but it's just him versus Lucid at the moment.
Yeah,
so
plays
no follow-up.
The Aftershock, a decent amount there. Now, neither team has the AD carry here, but it does look like they're setting up for something. I think she was going to TP back in, yeah, on full HP.
Shockwave comes out here. Namgung right here. Showmaker in a lot of trouble. That's first blood just given over to Roamer just like that. Showmaker not showing the respect required. Is now casting in a lot of trouble. He does not have his flash. Gets knocked back by the Cassante. And Lucid will clean that one up. So a kill apiece here for both teams.
Yeah, ends up being Bro who pick up the grubs in the extended play. Now they are looking for more.
Yeah, Lucid going to go back in. We have the Tempered Fate coming in, a TP as well onto the flag, and I think they're just going to try to turn onto the Pantheon here. Gideon, though, blocking a ton of the damage, gets the execute with the Q, and now he's actually just ulting out! What a play from Gideon to survive!
I think D+ went into that, kind of forgetting how slow these early game TPs are, banking on getting Showmaker there soon enough to back them up, but the power of Nautilus Pantheon early with the CC and also Pantheon's burst damage, the execute damage, kind of just outmatching. But a great play there from Gideon to disengage from that. Bit of a heist you pulled off there.
Yeah. You got to respect the Pantheon's ability to trade there when he's low.
So Showmaker's kind of had pressure throughout this lane, looks for this angle, and because his support and jungle were just in Banana Brush, he thought, I'm safe. I have my team there that I'm leaning towards. The Nautilus angle was pretty fantastic. Here, though, casting just gets picked off. Fairly easily done. But it's his follow-up play. They look for more, and D+ opt into it. They could very easily get out of this situation, but they opt into the play because they're like, hey, we have a TP coming in. Bottle can stall out. And then look at the minimap. And he's finally here. It takes so long, and I think even though TP got changed a while ago, I think teams still haven't completely nailed down the timing of how long it actually takes. Because you compare to old TP, it's like, how long does it take for you to... It takes exactly this much time.
Yeah.
Whereas now, it's like a distance factor is also a thing.
Yeah, it's more ambiguous. It can be hard sometimes to actually get the timing right, and a lot of our pros just don't.
Yeah.
They just don't get it right.
It was also, part of the thing was he TP'd to the flag. I'm not sure if there just wasn't like a good ward in the area, so maybe was waiting for that thing he could TP to. If he TP'd earlier and then the bottle came down. Honestly, there was a ward like a little behind them that they walked past near Raptors. If you just TP'd to there really early, I mean, it's hard to say. Maybe Bro just wouldn't have opted for the play, but if he'd been able to cut them off, could have been there soon enough to counteract the play. Right now, though, D+ 1,000 gold ahead, mostly just due to the bot lane quest being finished, so Bro should be able to even that out as soon as Teddy gets his done.
Yeah, there's some shenanigans early on. You know, Teddy got pushed out a little bit. It wasn't anything gigantic, and he is going to be just fine. It's good for Smash, though. It's just kind of farming it out, doing what you want on the Sivir.
Smash has 2 plates, already has his Yuntal stacking up.
Okay, interesting. We are going to have the Temper Fate come down, and now Lucid will follow up and try to go in on a Roamer. Actually does quite a lot at the end there, but he did also quite a lot of not so good stuff before that, so he does die.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the flag and drag was from Lucid. I think I have to see that again to really get to grips with what happened.
He didn't have vision. I think he just assumed that Gideon would 100% follow. And so he just like flag and drag, but it looks so short and kind of
I'm going to have to see it again.
rough.
I think Bro also kind of got stun locked because they were throwing everything at Jarvan and kind of layered CC in the bad way, like overlapped it. But they did get the kill, which is the main thing. Okay, replay.
Like he just assumed he was being followed.
Even with the context, even with your justification, which, you know, admittedly makes sense, still just looks weird.
He should not have gone in.
Yeah.
Clearly, he should have just flag and dragged out. I think Bro kind of collapsed a lot faster than he thought they would.
Yeah, there was also the overlap of like the shockwave and the Nautilus hook, so they didn't layer out the CC well. They overlapped it, and even then, I think Bro were like, "What? Let's just kill him!"
Yeah,
and threw everything, including the Ezreal ult, which flew by. But yeah, not the best Jarvan play we've seen. It's Ocean Soul, by the way. Not the best dragon we see.
Yeah, the souls today have been kind of lackluster. It's Motion Souls, a Chemtech Soul.
Did you say Motion Soul? It sounded like you
I didn't say that, but that sounds cool.
Like you said Motion Soul.
Maybe I did. I don't know. Let's play the replay back. What did Valdez say? I don't know.
Did he say motion?
Yeah, we're going to have to see that. We're going to have to hear that again. Instead, we're going to go for a big Cataclysm. Lucid this time says, well, I've done my job. See you later. Now the TP comes in, and that'll be the end of that. Temper Fate going to catch Namgung, but only Namgung. Xiu quite tanky against magic damage, especially going to find Roamer with the fail flash. And down he will go, and that'll be another kill on the board here for Showmaker.
Honestly, I think D+ setting up this play wasn't too inspiring, but it was Korea with the stun who made the play come together. Roma caught out by that, and then the fail flash adds insult to injury. And now D+ have that 1,000 gold lead despite Teddy having finished the gold quest. So feels a bit more legitimate when we're looking at it. A lot of tools available to Bro, and they just didn't use them. They felt like they came into this on the back foot. We see it kind of started off here. Lucid goes for an engage, but it's into an Ezreal. It's hard to really achieve too much with a Cataclysm. And D+ backing up a little bit. They have this flank from Chiwu. I think Roma needs to be aware you're out of position. You just need to flash over the wall way sooner. Waited until the bar stun hit, he got CC'd, and then failed the flash anyway. I think a heads-up flash there would have made all the difference.
Gideon already using that Aegis. He's in a bit of trouble, but he has some support from Namgung. Teddy also coming over here, shelling out the damage behind enemy lines. Big equalizer on the 2. This casting's going to show up right on time, and they take down Smash as well, as Gideon eventually does die, but baits in the enemy team.
They chase down Gideon, and he just go down, but it just takes so much time to kill a Pantheon, especially as he had Flash, and they pay so heavily. Bot lane, all sums burn, and both of them dying regardless. It's a heavy price just to pick up a single Pantheon.
Showmaker, I think, might be able to get that turret, but we do have Roamer coming up. He's going to be spotted, so Showmaker denied the turret.
Okay, I thought he was going to shockwave him. It doesn't go for it in the moment. So the Aegis sprint from Gideon, I think that's a signal to like, we can make this happen, we can go. But Gideon flashes over the wall, able to disengage from the situation, and Teddy's just doing this free damage. 2v1, looks like he might lose, but the equalizer comes in for casting and allows him to clean up those kills. Teddy just on fire already with his Ezreal, it feels. A big threat they have to contend with. And we also did kind of see just Sundered Sky doing Sundered Sky things in that fight. Gideon just going like 1, 2, 3, like whack-a-mole, getting all his procs.
Okay, we have the this is exactly the replay we wanted to see. Let's play the clip. Yeah, the souls today have been kind of lackluster. It's Motion Souls, a Chemtech Soul.
Did you say
okay,
Motion Souls?
So I said some Ocean Souls very fast.
So it sounded like...
So I said some Motion Souls.
It sounded
so
like...
I did, but also I didn't? I don't know.
We need like a... We've obviously had the replay, We need the analysis.
Yeah, can we throw to the desk? I think they need to break this down.
Does this qualify? Did he say motion soul? Some ocean soul? Some ocean?
Some ocean soul.
Some ocean?
Some ocean.
So motion?
Some motion.
So motion soul?
Yeah, I don't know. I think this is beyond my scope. I don't think I can actually analyze
This is
any
a tricky
further.
one, honestly. Yeah. Also, wouldn't Cloud Soul be the motion soul? That's the one that makes you.
It would, yeah. Or Hextech,
Hextech.
right? Because you get the gates.
Yeah, that's not
Or
really the
Chemtech, 'cause
soul.
you
That's,
get the
that's the those are the rifts. They're not the souls. Okay, apparently
Right.
we have top men on standby on the space today to analyze. So.
Well, we're not going to have that timing just yet, as we do have the Tempered Fate coming on in. Smash potentially in a bit of trouble. Doesn't have his flash. He kind of just has to disengage. Big Cataclysm, but Lucid immediately dies. And now Smash is like, I can't get close to them because they're just going to kill me. As eventually they just leave Namgung to die, and that'll be enough. As now Casting looks like he's going to be the one the Shockwave totally misses. As feels like Bro just one by one being torn apart here. DK going to get the better of the fight.
If that Shockwave hit, you saw the theory behind it. You saw what they were looking for. But good movement from D+ to avoid that. Both of their carries under threat of getting connected on by that. The end result is D+ come out ahead in the fight. And it feels like Hanji and Brianna looking for that key moment, not able to find it as of yet. I think Korea's got a ton of value throughout these fights on the Bard. Ult here to stop the Nautilus ult onto Smash, buy him some time so he can get his cooldowns back. And then getting so many stuns in this situation. Like here, catching the Nautilus so they can just finish him off. And Bro have definitely lost some momentum in this fight, so they want to back away. But look at this Shockwave. Look how close it is to catching Smash and Showmaker. If that connects with the Equalizer there as well, that could have turned the fight around, but unfortunately does not land.
And I understand Bro going that deep as well. It was a Sivir with no spell shield, no flash. You have a Nautilus very nearby, and Gideon is able to ult over the top, but the peel was just beautiful.
I think we're seeing some great Bard play from Prey. You know, we've seen it before, but this is when Bard could be the most frustrating, when he just shuts down all of your engages and buys time.
Okay, so we're going to throw over to Digon with the important analysis here.
Yes, after further review of the very important replay, we believe that Brendan Berger Valdez did say Samotion. Samotion Soul. What does that mean? Back to Brendan Valdez.
All right, thank you, Digon. That's going to be the challenge used on the play. And a timeout burns.
I feel like that hasn't answered my questions at all. Samotion?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, okay, so he's saying that I said Samotion, which is like a new word, but he doesn't know what it means. So that's the official ruling on the play.
I would have, if we'd gone with ocean or motion, I would have known where we stood. Now we're just in some middle ground.
Yeah.
All we know is that D+ are one step closer to securing whatever it is.
Samotion.
Samotion.
Jisun said that it sounded like Digon said that I said Samosa Soul.
Okay, do we need analysis on what Digon said?
What did Digon mean by that? Can we get an analysis from...
How many layers deep are we going to go?
You know, if this were like 2017, we would have so much downtime.
What, 2017 game?
Just the amount of lull state that you had back in the day.
I mean, we have Teddy playing for a team with green colors.
Yeah.
Just imagine.
It's basically the same thing, right? You don't want to engage onto a Nautilus with Flash, who's next to a Pantheon with 2 items, and Teddy, who's... He's not, like, more fed than Smash, but he's relatively fed himself.
He's in a good spot.
The 280 carries are feeding. You know, they're not feeding. They're getting fed together simultaneously.
They're feasting.
Yes.
Or they've feasted because they've already eaten.
Okay, well, that doesn't quite work, but still a Nautilus with Flash.
Okay, they get his Flash. That's something at least. Not going to be up for the next Dragon fight. try and push down this mid tower, and Bro just don't have the numbers.
Oh, nice little play here from Xiu. That's going to be the flash out of Gideon now as in goes Lucid. Tries to flag drag on the Gideon as, look at that equalizer. Going to do quite a lot to zone away the team, and now Teddy is just trying to capitalize on this alongside of casting. They have the damage, they have the chase, and they will take down Xiu.
Oh, the ult!
And the ult's going to hit too. Doesn't quite get the kill on a Lucid though. As now we got a Pantheon over the top. Here comes Gideon, the spear will land. I think eventually Smash is just gonna get chased down. How do you get away from this team? It is so annoying to do so, and now they're thinking about this Baron.
I think they can go for it. Lucid super low, has to reset. Casting can TP back in, Roma can TP back in. They're gonna go for this Baron, and a play where D+ were like, look, we got a couple of summoners, a tower, maybe we get a kill, suddenly turns into Bro taking control of the game. Now Showmaker is here, but with no ultimate. I'm just gonna pick up the honey fruit, which definitely is gonna help him out.
Yeah. Lucid's here. He's right there. He's got an angle. They're just going to hold on the DPS. Good flash here from casting, and I think with that, Lucid just doesn't have another way to get into the pit. As Roamer as well in a rough spot, but actually going to set up Gideon for a kill, who eventually will die, but that makes it a 1-for-1 at the end of the day, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, Gideon was always going to die. Had no flash, had no ult, no way to get out of the pit. The fact that they get the ult to make it a 1-for-1, phenomenal. And this is the play where, you know, D+ are getting a couple of sums. This is fine. They got the tower. This is fine. Lucid opts to go in, though. This is when it stops being fine. And this equalizer, putting a lot of damage on a Lucid, a lot on the Xiu, and suddenly the chase begins. And Bro sense this is a fight that we can win. They start chasing down targets. And we even see the recall get started by Lucid. They're like, hey, we need to get back onto the map in case they go for Baron. They don't give them the time. They're like, you think you're getting back on the map? We're still fighting. They don't hear no bell.
Yeah. Teddy was just sprinting at them the whole time.
By the way, I said no bell, not noble. Like noble.
Nobel, peace bells.
No.
What did Onks mean by that?
Yeah, so here, Gideon is just never getting out the pit. They go for Rowan, but the shockwave into the damage from Gideon is just such a great combo that otherwise we would have seen 2 dead from Bro, and we would have seen Lucid die there. But Roma kind of redeeming himself for that unfortunate shockwave earlier. Now they have Baron in hand, and do want to try and get access to some of these towers. Remember, Bro have not taken a single tower this game.
It's kind of insane, actually.
Kind of hard into Sivir and Victor to take down those towers.
Yeah.
And D+ just popped the on the hunt to try and hunt them down.
I do think that this is one of these teams, you know, I mentioned it earlier on in the game where it's like, the wave clear is so insane. I don't know if Bro win without Baron, especially with a game that's this close so far.
Yeah, D+ still have a goal lead, and the Baron power play has been pretty small.
Yeah, and
So-
Teddy's also in this game. So you remember that 94-minute game. That was an issue because they were playing into Azir and Sivir. And they just could not end the game.
You know, when you say, do you remember that 94-minute game? If memories take up certain amounts of space, how much space does that 94-minute game take? That's a lot of memory devoted to that, when you think about it.
So you would think on paper it would be like double the time of a 47-minute game.
That would make sense.
But actually, because it was so memorable, it takes up more space.
Wow. I'm glad we could establish this.
That's getting the analysis in there for you. Xiu is already super low. Teddy is just... Teddy doesn't get hit by anything. It just feels like he's like...
The equalizer.
He's dunked himself in oil. And he's just slipping all over the place, and nobody can do anything about it.
I feel like there's this element of respect that D+ are given to Teddy because he has no flash, and yet he will use his arcane shift, and they're like, no, I don't think we can hit him. I don't think we should go for it.
Well, they didn't.
Yeah, I mean, they don't with the skill shots they throw, but they have a job, and they just seem very cautious about committing on this Ezreal. Teddy playing to the limits. They will secure the dragon. Will they look for more? Showmaker there.
Yeah, Showmaker's got a nice angle here on a Teddy who's just going to use the disengage cone, and he gets over the wall. And there's the shockwave, but it's only going to hit the Bard, and now we got Showmaker just sprinting at them. You see Bro trying to lose this one gracefully, but they're going to lose 2, as at least they got Lucid somehow.
Yeah, they did manage to get the dragon as well, and Teddy managed to survive. But Showmaker trying to take the game into his own hands. We see this play here, and I think D+ are struggling with their approach to fights. Showmaker finds a good angle out of the vision, lack of vision, so he gets Teddy chunked down. Lucid engages on the Pantheon, which is kind of not being working phenomenally, but then the spell shield from Smash on the Shockwave allows him to push forward. Showmaker flashes over the wall and has tons of damage, so Bro have to back away.
Yeah, it's quite a scrappy game with a lot of damage on both sides. I mean, 3 potential carries for Bro. 3 for DK because Cassante is also a carry. But Showmaker is doing quite a lot of damage, and this is really before the Sivir gets fully online as well. So you can imagine what that DK late game is going to look like. But Bro are no slouch in the late game either, so it could get very interesting, especially because the game is still very close. I mean, D plus Kia do have a slight lead, but 2 dragons apiece. You got a very fed Ezreal on the side of Bro, very fed Victor on the side of DK.
A Fedzreal? No, that sounds terrible. I'm never saying that again. That was a one-off.
How about just a Fezreal?
Now I just think of Ezreal wearing a fez. Which would be pretty,
I mean, that's
great.
cool.
I like that a lot
okay.
more. We should have that as a skill.
Lucid is just dead. He's just dead. He was just standing there dying. Bro, like, you're not allowed to access our jungle. What's that?
I seem to remember Ezreal Q's being a skill shot, but it just doesn't look like it anymore. Teddy just doesn't miss. He just hits. And I think it's just that straightforward. Just hit.
I mean, Teddy on form is really something to behold. Like, there's a reason why this guy has so many fans and is so legendary, even though he's been on a lot of, to be honest, not the best rosters and hasn't necessarily been in the best form his entire career. But when he's on form, it's like, whoa.
I thought he was on Ezreal, not... I don't know what this other champ you mentioned is. Form?
It's a new one. Sorry.
Yeah.
A little bit of a spoiler. Yeah.
We'll have to see that one. Void Staff now for Roma. Felder's Grudge for Teddy. Some big spikes coming through. It feels like even though the gold is in favor of D+, tempo vibes in favor of the Bros right now. Teddy is just such a looming threat. Mostly because he just hits all the skill shots.
Yeah.
That is why.
I mean, we have all this information about the numbers and stuff, but the players themselves, like, what they're experiencing is Teddy kind of just doing a bajillion damage and having no way to lock him down if you're D plus Kia.
Oh.
Nice try from Nangung, actually, but that wall just a little bit too rotund.
That's the Bard Rock.
Yeah.
No.
It does kind of have like a little, rounded shape there on the left.
Yeah, you can't bend the dredge line around that.
Yeah.
This was Teddy waiting this pocket of vision, and he just goes, I will hit everything. And he does. And obviously you hit those Mystic Shots, you get the cooldown refund, gets a second Arcane Shift. As a Jarvan, a fed Ezreal is just your nightmare. And Teddy can comfortably play out of range of pretty much all of D+.
All right, there's no Arcane Shift now. They're going to force the flash, but already a bunch of damage done to Lucid, who's going to have to flash himself. Namgung also pretty low, though. The Equalizer doesn't do a whole lot, but it forces flashes and smashes out of position. Just dead immediately. She was like, well, I'm Cassante. I do the knock-up, and now I'm going to die. As he's alone against 5. He's just trying to take out Namgung if he can, but Namgung just running in circles. Nicely done, and that'll be Baron to Bro.
Try and engage on Teddy. It sounds like the right move. He's a fed Ezreal. We have to shut him down, but he has flash. He has terrain to move behind, and he ends up just dishing out all that damage regardless. And the problem is, you commit so heavily on this Ezreal, you don't get him, and it means the rest of Bro are just free to do what they want. They're threatening here with the On the Hunt, but the Arcane Shift's away, but then think, hey, we can go for him. No Arcane Shift. Unfortunately, he has the flash, gets it over the wall, even with the Cataclysm jutting out a little bit. And then the rest of the team comes in, cuts them off. Casting's there on the front line. Gideon's getting on top of the Sivir. And Shu, unfortunately, as tanky as he is, doesn't have the damage to even kill Namgun.
Yeah, when you consider the decision-making of D plus Kia, I think a large factor of why they went so deep in the enemy jungle was because, as you mentioned, the idea is we got to deal with Teddy. We got to take him out, and they go so deep to do that that it really just, it really is not great for D plus Kia. Now they've fallen pretty far behind. Bro had the tempo vibes, but now, I mean, you mentioned how there weren't a lot of turrets on the maps that they had taken, but with the Baron buff, able to get mid, able to get bot, and the push is on.
Yeah, one thing I will say, Teddy now flashless, very strong, but a little bit more vulnerable, so... Oh, this big equalizer, so much damage.
Yeah. And there's... It's not like an equalizer where you're trying to combo it and follow up and get kills. It's essentially a real zoning ult. Gonna get them off of the turret.
Tower going down bot lane. They're looking for this mid lane tower pretty low. Are D+ going to try for an engage or just grin and bear it? They've got a decent amount of wave clear. Obviously, it's not enough to protect all your turrets against Baron. Oh, they're looking for casting now. He has flash, though.
Yeah. I mean, Korea's been good about getting flashes in this game.
Yeah. I think
it's just, what about the follow-up, you know?
I think, honestly, if he'd gone for, like, the flash auto or Q for the slow, and then he could have bard ulted after, because obviously, if you slow him, Lucius going to get in range to Cataclysm, casting might have to flash, and then you can ult after the flash. Maybe that's the passage of play that would have led to a kill there. But in the end, they get casting's flash. Korea ends up keeping his. And at least that's something that they can tick off there. It's such a big gold swing, though. Over 3,000 for the Baron power play.
Hey, so bro, Gideon's able to feed that blue buff over to Roamer, who is pretty low on mana, but also Teddy has blue buff himself, so everybody stacking them. And they're just sieging the turret pretty straight up. I mean, with Baron buff, it's going to be difficult for the entire wave to get cleared, especially those back cannon minions, even with the Victor and the Sivir. 4,000
now on the Red Bull Baron power play.
Teddy is just... He's like untouchable. He doesn't have flash. He arcane shifts in to a Jarvan, does not care. And Career's like, you know what? Let me try. Let me give it a shot. It's not going to work out if you guys go in one at a time, that's for sure.
It feels like he's just taunting them. Just in their faces, like
he's
daring
farming.
them. Yeah.
You know?
He's just daring them to engage on him. And when they do, he just nips away. And it's like, okay, thanks for the cooldowns. Endless Hunger now picked up. If you thought his arcane shift was always up before, it's always going to be up.
Yeah. Actually. And see what he builds last.
EA, I presume.
Probably, yeah. Probably should be.
Yeah.
Especially on Ezreal, a champ where if you do respawn, you can just shift away.
The only alternative would be Bloodthirster, and he already has Gluttonous Greaves and Endless Hunger for sustain. So likely just going to be GA for that extra safety net. He's doing a ton of damage right now. 3,400 gold ahead of the Sivir. And when you look at Sivir's items, those are some good items. You look at Showmaker's items, those are some good items. But it just feels like they're not able to connect onto targets they need to. Smash's game has felt relatively quiet in comparison to the enemy AD carry.
Yeah. I think it's a symptom of not really having the ability to lock down targets reliably. You know, you have a Bard ult and you have a Jarvan. Those are like the two big pieces of CC you have in your kit as a composition, but it's against Ezreal. So, you know, he's just going to be able to dodge everything. Teddy also has done a good job of just walking out of Bard ults. You know, he hasn't even used the shift to get out of those.
Yeah.
Showmaker has somehow done more damage than Teddy
Showmaker has been doing a good amount of damage in these fights, but unfortunately just hasn't always stuck to the targets he wants. And now in the situation where Gideon has a GA, Casting has a Seekers, Roma has Zhonya's, Namgung is pretty tanky as far as Nautiluses go, and Teddy has his flashback up. So, is there a good target? Doesn't really seem like it anymore. They were struggling to engage in him when he was flashless arcane shifting in.
Yeah.
Now he has his flash. This gets significantly more difficult. Dragon up in 30 seconds would be Soul for Hanj and Brion. And normally I talk about, you know, tanky champions benefiting from that, but Roma and Teddy have been pretty mana thirsty, so the mana regen actually pretty high value.
Well, they're going to get the arcane shift. And also Namgung, who's just going to flash away. Casting does TP into this one. The hook not really going to do a whole lot. Namgung in a lot of trouble, actually. And down he will go. They use the Cataclysm to get him, though. So using a decent amount here for D plus Kia to pick up just the support of Bro.
Yeah, a lot of cooldown spin that they now don't have to deal with Teddy, but they now have a 5v4 ahead of them, which is pretty valuable in and of itself. D+ still pretty healthy, apart from Lucid, who had to reset. Teddy, the one to pick up the blue there, burning through mana pretty quickly. It's kind of what I'm talking about with the Ocean Soul. Both him and Roma just end up really low on mana a lot, so there's value in that.
Yeah.
But for now, D+ are setting up on it, but can they deal with the poke?
They're just going to try to combo with the Orianna. They get on top of Showmaker, but look at the angle that Xiu gets on a Teddy. It's big, but they don't take him out. Where's the kill on a Teddy? Oh, where's the follow-up? It's just not there, but they're still going to be able to wipe the front line. Teddy looking for a little bit more, and he's really trying to make this game all about him. It's kind of insane.
He has sustain. He can go for this. There's still a Cataclysm available.
What do they do? I mean, we have a TP coming in. This is an Orianna. There's no smite here for Bro. That's going to be an interesting ult from Career, and he's just going to die as the Jarvan does pick up the Dragon. And Xiu just going to have to hop over the wall to get out.
Okay, D+ get the Dragon and manage to come out ahead in the team fight just about. Actually, I think it's even overall in kills with them picking off Namgoon at the start, 3 for 3. But they get the Dragon, which is a win enough in and of itself. The fact they didn't kill Teddy there is kind of insane. Xiu had him. I was convinced he was dead. He was so low.
That was the moment where it's like, oh, they got him. Okay, DK, nice.
Yeah, he actually ends up getting targeted a little late in the fight because Engage comes in for the shockwave with the Pantheon. But Xiu flashes for him, and then Teddy tries to flash the ult from the Xante and ends up backfiring, and then only Korea was hitting him after the fact. And Korea just didn't have the damage. That Mystic Shot snipe onto the Sivir was huge. And Teddy, just the fact he survived there is crazy. Able to move back in and start providing pressure. They don't have a smite though, so very hard to stop D+ from getting the Dragon.
We have the Baron on the map right now. You can see that Bro were posturing around it, but they did not pick it up just yet. A lot of damage in the Showmaker already, actually.
You know what? Teddy went the Bloodthirster instead of the GA. He's like, I don't plan on dying, but I will heal. I will
like,
always
if I die, it's over.
Yeah, I mean, he's got insane amounts of sustain now.
All right, Luce is trying to find the angle.
And there's Grievous Wounds on Korea and Smash, but they're not always going to be in range to hit him. There's no Thornmail or Bramble Vest on Xiu right now.
All right, just going to start hitting the Baron once again. True Shot Barrage doesn't do a whole lot. Maybe a little bit of damage to the Sivir, but Smash is just going to heal that one up.
They don't know.
Yeah, they're just going to try to do a bunch of damage. See, this ult, this time for Career is big, and now the lineup on a Teddy. He tries to get away, but the follow from Lucid is big! And that's exactly what they were looking for. They finally took out the Ezreal, and that's all they had to do.
And Korea with the big board play. That might just be enough to end the game. Death time is long. I think they've done it. One big fight was all it took. They take down Teddy. And that one death for the Ezreal is all they need to take game one.
Wow. Well, just hit the Barn ultimate finally, and then the follow-up will be there. The no flash on Teddy actually ends up mattering big time at the end of the day. He could have flashed the Cataclysm and maybe continued, but it was not enough.
Korea, in the clutch moments, he just has it. He has the it factor. When it comes to those big moments, those big team fights, he just has a way of finding the targets they need to win it out. A frustrating loss for Hanch and Brion. You got to remember, they need to win this series. Without it, their chances of making Legend Group are slim to none. Still mathematically possible, but very unlikely. And going 1-0 down to D+, not how they wanted this series to start, especially with Teddy's Ezreal making such an impact.
Yeah, just kind of insane what he was able to do, just shape the entire game around him individually. But unfortunately, individually, you're not going to be able to win the game a lot of the time. And, you know, Teddy did a great job, but it just felt like, especially in that last fight, it was a bit all over the place. And D+ Kia very proactively forced the fight on their terms.
Yeah, and Lucid had a rough game. We'll be honest, playing Jarvan and Ezreal, not that fun, but generally struggled. But that last fight, he knew what his job was, followed up on the Tempered Fate beautifully, and was able to take out Teddy. It all came together for that one moment. They do need to get another game win, but it's a lot of good news for D+ right now, having the first game advantage in this series.
Yeah, it's a pretty massive win, especially when these two teams are so evenly matched, as we can see, as evidence from game number 1, which does go to D plus Kia as we head into the break.
좋아, 우리가 포지션.
여기에 감을게 이거.
우리가 포지션 좋아.
여기도. 시험?
실자부터 열어봐. 이즈동. 럼블 아 보여?
뭐요?
야너또
얘들아, 나 크게 돌아볼게. 크게 돌아볼게.
어,
볼만?
천천히.
어때? 이제 볼만?
이제 볼만하긴 해.
야 이거.
야, 이제 볼까?
이제
야야야,
이제
야, 이제.
잡은 거 같아?
야, 봐줘.
오케이.
야,
야, 얘들아, 미달 나이스!
아, 다행이다. 와.
아씨, 야 형이 얘들아 가자.
정해.
야야야야야, 아무 데나 가.
아, 맞다. 바탕.
rest of the team, and not just in play but in picks as well, being able to offer him more support. It's fine to have Teddy be the focus point and the main carry. That's what he's been during that hot streak, but needs some more backing from the rest of the team.
Absolutely does. And, you know, if he can have even 66% of what he did in game 1, I think, you know, as long as the rest of the team is there to back him up, there's still a chance for them in this series. We know that QMDRX is praying for Bro to now win 2 games in a row, because that's the only way that they stay out of Rise Group, QMDRX that is.
What about a bit more than a 66% chance? Like a 68? That's a little bit higher.
Yeah, it is a little bit higher.
Yeah. Okay, bans have come out pretty quickly in this situation. We do see the Lee Sin, Varus, Karma being banned again, the Nocturne, Lucian left open. They're not going to go for the Lucian, they're opting to go for the Cassiopeia, which is a pick that does make playing Lucian a little bit troublesome.
I would take the Lucian, to be honest.
A lot of teams would, but they're not even going to... They're looking at potentially the Ashe Seraphine. I think D+ kind of saying, hey, we don't think we can necessarily deal with the Cassiopeia with a short-range AD carry. Just makes a harder team fight. The Miasma, the Hanj and Brion just go Lucian Milio here. We saw it in the earlier series, getting a lot of early momentum, even though it didn't pan out over the course of the game. Or do they go in a different direction? Because you are playing into likely Ashe Seraphine Xin Zhao, and they opt to go for picking up the topside pick. So the Vi going to make it a little bit tricky for the Ashe to play around. The Jace securing that and knowing that you can ban away potential counters.
Yeah, because they have to
Dante's
take
gone.
Seraphine.
Yeah, so probably the ban for Hanj and Brion is going to be like Jace. Sorry, not Jace. They're playing Jace. Yorick and Sion, I would imagine.
Yeah.
And then for D+, I would probably ban away the Lucian.
Lucian.
Makes a lot of sense. Maybe you're concerned about... To be honest, Lucian's kind of the main one. We've seen
Yeah.
Corki Nami into it.
We've seen MF as well, but there's no Nautilus. So the MF Nautilus has been kind of the duo for MF. It's not the only MF lane you can play. They're going to ban Pyke, so they say, we want to keep our Ashe Seraphine as safe as possible.
Yeah, concerned about like the Mel Pike that we've seen, or like Ziggs Pike, so getting rid of that. Sion comes in as a first ban, no surprise there. that's the question. Will it just be the Lucian? It is. So taking away a lot of the options for Teddy and Namgoon. They still have like Corki Nami. They still have Inara Lulu, which does have a tough time, but obviously scales very well. I imagine this is just the Yorick. It is. Now for D+. Which lane are you picking first, and what are you taking in that lane? Generally not a fun time in the chase, unless you have one of the picks that do well into it. You could take something like the Ornn, if I'm being honest.
We have a little bit of a smirk here for Shiyu. Anivia.
I think Anivia is good into Cassiopeia and good at controlling the game in general. So
Also could be top.
could be flex top. We have seen it before. And when looking at the 80 carries, I feel like one of the things is that, you know, we saw the MF Nautilus be very successful. Nautilus not available.
Yeah.
Makes it pretty tricky when you're trying to go for a kill lane. Going with the idea of a Caitlyn, and we have to see like Caitlyn Lux be powerful, but even though we've seen teams do well with that, T1 recently had Caitlyn Lux into Ash Seraphine. Ash Seraphine's a really strong lane, and it's not a guaranteed winning matchup. It's a lot about execution. The reason T1 won the matchup is because they executed very well. If you're not on point with your skill shots, you can just get kind of DPS down.
Okay.
So
is this Cog mid?
It looks like
into
it might.
Cassio?
Yeah.
That like it. My brain was like, turn back the clock 15 years. Didn't have to go that far, but
Showmaker definitely want to bring out new picks. So I remember there was some pretty heavy AP ratio buffs towards the end of last year, which is a while ago, but obviously we haven't seen Cogmore mid, so it's like what to make of them.
Yeah.
But I mean, especially if you're playing around the poke, I know that Comet got buffed for what is proc at a long distance or just Deathfire Touch. Both good options in terms of getting that damage down. AP Cogmore, because you're playing into Cassiopeia, who obviously likes you to go into her, to aggress into it. Poke is devastating against that. Cassiopeia really struggles against Poke, and it feels like their game plan is just, we're going to outrange you. We're not going to interact with you in a typical way. Now, there are some longer range tools on the side of Bro, like you have the Jace, you have the Caitlyn Lux, but in a Poke battle, it's going to be a tough time.
Yes, it absolutely will. As there's the zoom in onto, yes, mid Cogmaw here for Showmaker, who's really, once again, trying to throw a wrench into the gears of his enemies. We'll see if it works out this time in Game 2.
미니언들이 생성되었습니다.
Showmaker is bot. He's just saying hello. Nothing really much going to come from it except Smash taking a bunch of damage to the face. An AP Cog. I mean, we've seen Cassiopeia, you know, just try to outrange her, and then maybe that's the answer. You were just talking about how perhaps AP Cog wins the poke war. They don't really have a front line outside of Xinjiao and a wall. And certainly a lot of threats. You know, there's like the Seraphine ult, you got a Anivia wall. There's a lot of ways to catch members on the side of Bro, and Bro don't have a huge front line either. So it's kind of like, almost feels like a solo queue game almost with these kind of compositions coming out.
So is the comment from the Cogmore, and when you hit the E, obviously it slows as well, so can set up the Comet quite well and is long range. That was one of the changes they did when they introduced Deathfire Touch as well. They made it so Comet, you don't get cooldown refund when you're hitting abilities anymore, but the further away from you the target is, the more damage Comet does. So Cogmore obviously able to proc that at heavy range and get a lot of benefit from it. Right now just farming with his W. And a bit with his Q.
Yeah. Early on, as AP Cog, you're just kind of farming. You want to get a lot of mana items. You want to pick up a tier. probably go into the Catalyst. To be honest, AP Cog builds in 2026, not 100% sure, but he was always very mana-starved, AP Cog, so
Yeah, he's
not be
running
surprised to see something similar.
Presence of Mind and Cut Down as a secondary runes, which honestly has gained a lot of popularity.
Yeah, I know somebody who used to do that all the time, actually.
Really?
Yeah, not a pro anymore, but he's like kind of one of those guys in solo queue that the pros get ideas from.
Oh, I'm sure.
Maybe that's where this idea came from.
But Cut Down just does kind of crazy damage. And Presence of Mind really helps with some of your mana issues. That's the thing with AP Cog. You can just endlessly spam your ultimate until you can't.
Yeah.
As the mana cost ramps up. And unlike Kassadin, you don't get additional damage from the subsequent hits.
Oh boy. The last player,
5
SK Telecom Faker.
2015. Wow.
I mean, it used to be a thing.
Yeah.
More oftentimes played, which is why my brain was like, turn back the clock. But yeah, 2015, over 4,000 days ago.
It's a while. A little bit of a while.
A short while.
But yeah, I mean, the thing with... Because it's been a lot of changes for Kog'Maw since then. I mean, a lot. He's still roughly the same. But, because his ultimate does more damage based on targets missing health. And then the max increases at 40% health. But it used to be that it would only be increased if they're under a certain threshold. And they gave it like a gradual increase, which feels a lot better.
Yeah.
Obviously, the biggest spike is if they're under 40% HP. That's what you're going for.
One of the things about AP Cog as well is he's one of those champs that has just insane wave clear.
Yes.
You just press ER and the wave's gone, basically. I mean, champs that can do that in this day and age, I feel like it was a lot more common. But to do it, that cleanly and that swiftly.
This is literally why Baron is the way it is. Because you used to have a meta where it was like Ziggs against Gragas. And that was when Gragas used to go just full AP. And I don't mean like, we get AP Gragas top sometimes. Yeah. It's like AP Bruiser. I mean, no, like you're just going full max damage AP. And they would just wave clear endlessly. And, we talked earlier about the 94-minute game.
Yeah.
It was stuff like that that led to a lot more games going in that direction. And then they brought like Baron and Elder in, which in the time, like it's been a long time since we've had Baron and Elder, but there was a long period without them as well. And it was just a struggle to finish out games. You also didn't have Dragon Souls. All these things kind of leading us to the point we're at now where the game does end in a timely manner.
Yeah. And it's going to take a little bit of time before Showmaker's, one-shotting waves. But thing about it is you just outrange the Cassio, and sometimes you don't even have to interact with her. So a lot of Cassio's strength early to mid is how strong she can be in the lane. Yeah. Outside of everything else with the runes and what she offers in team fights and how she can stop champs that have a lot of mobility, etc. But she's very annoying to deal with in the lane.
Honestly, this is something I really liked about Showmaker, is that he's just always thinking of different picks he can bring out and the situations that they can be strong in. We saw a lot of this from him last year in the 2025 LCK Cup. But even though we had the Zyra, which didn't work that well, I just feel like it's really cool that we have a player who's constantly like, oh, what about this pick and this pick?
Yeah.
How would this matchup go? Or can I get an edge in this? Especially with Fearless, it's a huge asset.
Yeah, I mean, there are so many players, and I don't have anything against them. It's just kind of the way the LCK has worked for so long that are just like, you know what? He's playing Corki, give me a Zir. That's just kind of the way it's been for a long period of time. If it works, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. As now, Lucid going to spot him.
Oh, no.
I think he's still dead, though, as level 6 versus level 5. And Lucid already flashed, so that's going to be that. Gideon picks up first blood in the jungle.
Yeah, Gideon getting the level advantage and finding the enemy jungler there. We've also seen bot lane going heavily favored.
Oh boy. Yeah, they're being chopped down as Teddy with the flash auto! And he is back. He left in game 1 and he's like, no. I am back here for game 2.
Man, so clean. And I was talking about how this matchup isn't a guaranteed win for the Kate Lux. Execution's a big factor. We obviously saw FaZe Carrier have great success, but right now, the bot lane Tangent Brion just absolutely popping off and able to find similar success. Here was just Gideon catching out Lucid, isolated. But they walk up with a heal, start getting the damage down. The binding comes in, and then the net and the Peacemaker angle is so good. Teddy just read him like a bug.
Yeah. I mean, you saw Smash after the kill as well. Like, hands on his head, big smile on his face. Not because he's happy, just because he's like, man, what do I do? That's kind of the vibe he was giving off, and especially because he felt sheepish that he flashed after the auto was already out, but what can you do? If he was a little bit faster, he gets out of range with his own flash before Teddy's. It was not meant to be.
We did see casting being the egg of Shiwu earlier, but he had, and you don't actually see this very often, he had actually 0 mana. Like, the bar was just completely absent, so wasn't able to do much more to follow up. But so far, casting doing pretty well in this matchup. Having a decent time on the Jace.
Yeah.
I do think if we're getting into poke wars, the Jace being strong is a very relevant aspect. It's also, I feel like it's kind of awkward for the Cassiopeia and the Anivia who don't like playing into poke and are now in a game where they are going to be dealing with it.
Yeah. Kind of the awkward champs that are strong in their own right, but maybe not fitting in all too much, as the binding going to sail wide. If the binding hits, I think Lucid immediately has to Crescent Guard because, well, it's Kate Lux, and Lux, or rather, Kate was right there. So you're going to get trapped. You're going to get hit by everything. The final spark. It's not gonna feel good. So Lucid at least able to dodge that.
Gunmaker holding up pretty good in terms of farm. Has that ghost as well. So just ghosting back to lane, doesn't have the TP. We'll miss out on a little bit of CS here.
He was like almost full health and full mana. Went back, I'm not really sure what he got, but he didn't complete any items.
He completed his lost chapter.
Okay. Well,
And boots as well. He completed his Ionians and then used Ghost, but got the lower cooldown Ghost because he has Ionians.
technology.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I wonder if you could use Ghost and then refund the Ionians as you're leaving the fountain. I've never tested that. I've never tried that.
I mean, it would
also
it wouldn't add on to the cooldown.
But then you'd refund,
sell them.
you'd refund the boots, and then you'd have all that money, so you'd have to spend that. I think that would take too long.
Okay, apparently Yundo is on it. So Yundo's going to get in the practice tool. And he's going to test this.
Test out one of these
Make
pointless
sure that he
interactions.
also tests, you know, if you can do it and smoothly also buy an item that's not the boots after you refund the boots. We're going to need to see some high APM numbers here, Yundo.
This is really min-maxing. This is like, you know, there used to be a thing where if you, the more health you had, like the quicker you regened. I can't remember exactly how it worked. It's like people used to buy like mana crystals, and then the mana regenerate quicker, and then they'd refund them. Just completely min-maxing fountain time.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes, you know, you're in a position where you have 0 mana, like the Jace earlier. So maybe if he had like 50 mana, it could have been different. Should have been maxed. Can't do that anymore, but trying to set up here for the second Drake.
A lot of opportunity to find picks for both these compositions. The Ashe Seraphine with their level 6s online, but Gideon already having drawn First Blood, no doubt looking for a second opportunity to. And Smash not having Flash for a little bit. These are the timings when you expect people to look for them to try and punish a Flashless AD carry. But Smash is playing very defensive. They'll Hawkshot the Dragon, and they're not opting into this fight. Despite how strong Xin Zhao Ashe Seraphine is, Lucid only now just finishes Sundered Sky. Smash had no Flash. It just, there's no way you're contesting that under these conditions.
Yeah. And the timing is good for Bro. They have already a very nice lead in this game, and it's not just, you know, a Teddy effect or something like that. Also, it's Infernal Soul.
Oh man, this is
this time.
this is a huge soul to get for either of these compositions. Like when you're getting into Poke Wars, Infernal Soul is just disgusting. It syncs so well with champions who hit you occasionally from a long distance.
Yeah. Here comes Gideon once again. Another scanner from Lucid to spot him. This time he has more teammates. Some very high farm numbers for 4 of our members who are over 10 CS a minute. Gideon gets in, steals the red. Doesn't get a kill this time, but I don't think he cares. He's very far ahead of his opponent.
With only 2 kills, almost a 3,000 gold lead.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
It's just every lane, every person is winning.
Definitely not the position D+ want to be in. Showmaker approaching level 11. So, obviously I said before that his ultimate, even though it ramps in mana, like Castin, it doesn't get more damage as you ramp in mana, unlike Castin.
Yeah.
Something he has in common with Castin is his ultimate, as you put points in it, it's a massive spike. It increases the range each time. So, level 16 AP Cogmore is kind of disgusting, the range you can hit you from, but level 11 is a big boost.
Trying to go very aggressive here is Gideon, but he's not going to force the play. Comes in, clears a ward, backs away. Bot lane's winning for Bro. Top lane is also winning for Bro.
We did get confirmation from Yundo that the spell cooldown stayed the same after cancelling purchase, which is what I kind of expected, but
Yeah.
it's a fact you can refund it, because sometimes, like, if you have a dot on someone and you buy an item, it doesn't let you refund it, even after, like, you're dead.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just lets you refund it. So if your APM is high enough, you could buy Ionians, Ghost, and then, or even Teleport, actually. You could do it with Teleport.
Oh, ooh, nice flash here from Casting. That hits him. You gotta expect he is dead.
Yeah, like, you could buy Ionians, start TPing, refund them, buy something else, and then have the reduced cooldown.
That seems good. I feel like
That's easier than Ghost, because Ghost, you have to be running out of the fountain, and
Yeah.
if you're ghosting and not running out of the fountain as you're buying stuff, you're losing time. And then what was the point? But for
like
TP,
this is tech that people must do, but I guess it doesn't come up every single time.
I guarantee there is people out there who do this like every single time, and they're like, you guys didn't know this? I'm sorry, I'm a heathen.
League of Legends just has a lot of little things.
Yeah.
Even if you cast it for so many years, there's going to be things you don't know.
Or just don't think about it as well.
Yeah.
And then you have the people who just will spend 17 hours in practice tool thinking through all these things. And you know what? They're the goats. So shout out to those people.
They do the real work, so the rest of us can enjoy the cool mechanics. This game is definitely slowed down. I mean, as you mentioned, 2-0, 2 kills, 3,000 gold. And for D+ Kia, I mean, you're waiting on your Cogmaw. You don't really have pressure. You have pick potential in bot, but you can't use it because you're behind. And now the laning phase is essentially done. They're trying to come up here and challenge at the Rift Herald, actually, which will be, for now, respected by Bro. Gideon is taking a little bit of damage. We do have a TP coming in here from Roamer. Looks like they do want to go for the 5v5. Bit of damage into Shield. As this one is going to be close. Gideon not able to get it. He goes very deep for the kill and a smash. He was just being hounded by everyone as he will go down. This is going to be the first pick here for Bro. Namgoon getting pretty low himself, but he's just going to flash away and survive. Down to the egg is Shu, but he will eventually go down as well. And that kill goes over to Teddy. So 2 kills plus. We saw the Rift Herald did go over to D+ Kia, but that's all they got.
So hard to deal with the Vi as this Ashe. They just jumped. Smash took him out of the fight immediately. Cogmore is not really fully online at this point. And it felt like Bro, who already had a significant gold lead, just kind of ran them over from there. Okay, so we got confirmation. The TP cooldown starts going down after arriving to the teleport point. So the Ionians makes no difference.
Yeah. So just do it with Ghost.
Yeah.
All right, we got Lucid going in. He's got that Crescent Guard. A lot of value there, just trying to keep them around as he is able to sustain, as this is the flanking Anivia, though, so doesn't do a whole lot. But some damage into Casting and Gideon, and she was able to get the shield. Showmaker now getting dove by Roamer, and he's going to have to flash out of this one, unfortunate for him.
Roma feels like he's really starting to take this game into his own hands. A big threat at this point. Dragon being sent up for, and Bro get this, it's pretty massive. Deepos throw down the Combat Herald, which was some of their spoils they got from the last fight. Smash already so low! But they get the Dragon.
Yeah.
That's a win. They just need to get out.
Getting hit by a stun, I think.
Oh, no.
There's going to be the binding on a career, but no follow-up is there. The trap's not going to connect. Another stun, this time on a Gideon once again. Namgung in a lot of trouble, doesn't have any mana, goes down. And now casting in the middle of nowhere, just trying to get away from the team. And he will also be going down. This time, a shutdown going over to Lucid.
Mash has ult, by the way.
Awkward spot here.
Oh,
Eddie. Oh, he tried to flash the arrow and just dies instead. Oh, man.
You know, there's an interesting thing with the Ash Arrow hitbox. It's really weird, but the hitbox is like towards the tail end of the arrow. So you might think like the Ash Arrow is already inside you, and then flash, and you just connect with the back end of the arrow, and it hits you. It's really weird. It's a weird hitbox. Yeah. So I think deceptive. I think at the moment, hard to react to in that situation, but I think the hitbox may be a factor there. We see in this situation, they just beeline straight for Smash. What can you do?
Die.
Well, yeah, that is what he did. And then they do get the Herald, but they kind of have to give up Shiwu here, who just can't really do anything in the middle of 3 people as an Anivia. But then, in this play, they get the Dragon, and Hanjin Brion don't line up those traps, unfortunately. Teddy doesn't get it down in time on a career. Namgoon's basically out of mana, Gideon's super low. They just start chasing down the kills, and they're right now on the wrong side of the map, so Showmaker comes in to cut them off. Misses some skill shots, sure, but doesn't really matter at the end of the day. I will see the arrow moment again here. He just kind of flashed straight into it, to be fair. I don't think that
he
was
went a little early.
I don't think that was a hitbox factor.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard. He was so close to him.
Yeah.
So how are you going to...
Flashing to the side would be the best thing.
Yeah.
But
maybe he like wanted to flash in range of a net.
Maybe.
Or something. Like, get in range, net him, headshot. Maybe.
It was a difficult situation.
Get him down.
Speaking of difficult situations.
Yeah, well, see you later. Get it?
No, you'll have to explain it to me.
Oh, it's because Siu kind of sounds like see you.
Oh.
So it's like see
like the
you later.
convenience store?
Yes.
Okay.
There is one of those in Korea.
There is. Malignant's picked up Showmaker. Obviously, with the ultimate, you can proc that very frequently. Getting the burn down. Level 13 right now, closing in on level 14. I just want to see the level 16 because that's when it kind of gets pretty crazy. There's a lot of AP Cogmore in ARAMs, in ARAM Mayhem, so a lot of AP Cogmores there, just kind of running rampant. Showmaker trying to ramp up to that point.
Yeah. They were gated from the Rift until today.
Yeah.
Showmaker's bringing it back.
I mean, I don't think AP Cogmore is specifically like ARAM tech, but it is interesting when we get stuff bleeding over. Like the Poke Ash build we had long ago was originally an ARAM build.
Yeah.
That came into Summoner's Rift.
All right, they're going to go in onto Lucid, but that is a Xinjiao. Very difficult to do, and Gideon just dies. So kind of confusing there. Now Roamer, the follow-up, just kind of baited into that one by the team. And Steeples Key are like, okay, I guess we'll take 2 free kills.
Showmaker's fishing for some more poke here, but they might just move over onto this Baron. Okay, there is still the poke elements of Hanjin Brion alive. And they are getting some damage down on the Showmaker. Casting was hunting from there. This is a scary Baron to take, but there's no smite. So you just want to rush it and get the smite secure. She was there to ward them away.
Yeah. He's doing a great job of that. Even if he does die, I mean, it's not really the end of the world. Trying to burst it down as Namgung maybe, but they don't quite have the damage.
Okay, I mean, to be fair, smiting late is always the correct move.
Yeah.
When there's no other smite other than your own. Because if you try and do it exactly at like 1400, you're trolling. So Lucid left it a little late there, but that is the correct move because no one on the enemy team is doing like 1,000 damage in one hit.
Showmaker has Magi's with 6 stacks.
Okay, well...
This was confusing.
Yeah, ulting onto the Xin who's just... He's going to press ult, and then Roma gets clipped by the Seraphine ult into the Ash Arrow. Not the best setup. We do see the team setting up for Dragon now. And Showmaker is starting to spam this poke. Good Shock Blast in return does a decent amount of damage, though.
Yeah, I feel like Showmaker hasn't really been sticking that poke all so well. See you here on the right side.
Here.
See you later.
You know, I think she was having some struggles with the Anivia.
Yeah.
It's fearless, so he can't play it in the next game if Bro win, but I imagine if it wasn't, he still wouldn't.
It feels like sometimes he's really struggled with like exactly when to come in on a flank. And he he's like always flanking.
You don't need a flank on Anivia. That's
flanking on Forest, flanking on Anivia.
You don't have to do that.
You don't need
the arrow.
Oh, the flash away from Namgung means it's going to hit Roamer, and he's taking so much damage. If Showmaker's level 16 there,
yeah, he's just dead.
At least you get the flash.
No, I think. Yeah, true.
At the very least. I mean, maybe if you have the damage to burst him down while he's stunned. And just like that, I mean, they didn't even have to really interact with him. Just throw in an arrow, throw in some ults from the Kog'Maw, and
I mean, the arrow setup for the poke is so devastating. Even with the fact they just lost their Anivia, D+ still win the poke war and force them away. That being said, Hanjin Brion do have that third dragon, one away from Infernal Soul. That will certainly help them out with what they're trying to achieve here, which is land the poke. One of the problems as well is that Namgun, even though the Lux binding is pretty long ranged, it's not like Ash Arrow or Kog'Maw ult range sort of thing. It's also quite slow. So Namgun has to get a little close to land that, and then Teddy has to be in range to trap, and I think that's just a difficult thing to do. The Shock Blast obviously has huge range, so not a major concern with that. But it's definitely a bit of a delicate position for Hanjin Brion now, despite the gold lead, despite the dragon lead. Some struggles if D+ can get set up and maybe have like an Anivia wall blocking the enemy team off, as in like blocking them from getting to the backline, not flanking with it. Potentially. You know, it's a crazy theory.
Yeah. I've yet to really see that tech used. We'll see if Shiu can figure it out. All you got to do is just stick with the team. Use all of your zone control that you have on this pick. And that can be your job. You don't even necessarily need to do damage. It's probably not going to be doing a whole lot of damage. Down 2.2k 1,000 gold on the Jace.
Yeah. Bit of a significant gap. Casting is very strong. I do feel like Jace, Shock Blast, they had that nerf a while ago, and they just don't hit like they used to. And then we used to have them like, when you were ahead of the curve, they would just do like 70% of someone's HP. Not quite at that point.
Yeah.
He's picked up the Serpent's Fang. There's obviously a moderate amount of healing on the other side, but doesn't have the percentage pen yet. Like that Shock Blast is, you expect more.
Yeah.
Pretty good poke coming out from the Kate Lux bot lane with the ultimates.
It's really just poke wars at a certain point.
Yeah, Showmaker's so close to level 16. We need to see this.
Yeah.
Important.
And when you have poke versus poke like this, you know, outside of Gideon, you know, just going insanely deep on a Vi angle, sometimes fights are just won by whoever's poke landed. And we might have that around an objective where it's like, oh, well, we got poked out, so we didn't land ours, so I guess they're just going to get Infernal Soul. Could happen.
There is obviously the sustain on D+ that helps him out. Ooh, the movement speed. Roma gets him out. Tricky situation.
Are they going to give Showmaker the camp? Doesn't look like it. There's a wave coming in. I think he might get it on that wave, or maybe the next one. Oh, he's so close. I think he should have taken the Krugs. But
He wants something. Look, he's walking about. He's like, I need XP. Where am I getting it, guys? I think it's fine. You just recall, you can go mid and leech some XP there. He is very close to having it.
yeah.
No, he's hanging around top for another wave. Level 16. There's a lot of champions at level 16 is like that major, like Ryze, Kayle, Kassadin. But AP Kog'Maw 2 is a very significant spike.
Yeah, not to mention that in terms of items with the Magi's, if they win one more team fight, it's going to be in a position where it's very, it's really just insane amounts of damage that is coming out from the AP Cog.
Yeah, there is
It's going to feel unfair.
the Infernal Soul on the cards, which is a big factor with these long-range damage threats. D+ definitely don't want to give that one over for free. But it's right now Hanj and Brion who have control of the area. You see quite condensed vision around the blue buff of D+, into the river. D+ do have a lot of vision tools with the Kog'Maw ultimate and with the Fork Shot. You see Showmaker, the range now. I'm going to just have to sprint away from that. He's letting the mana cost reset and then fishing some more. Trap line set up.
Oh boy, Roamer, he's in a rough spot. He's going to flash at the very end of that. Doesn't take a whole lot of damage, so it's okay. But D+K also able to push that mid wave. Going to feel pretty good about that. Somebody's got to step on a trap here or just scoot around it.
I mean, look at the range of that Kog'Maw ult now. It's so far. He's trying to balance the cast so his mana doesn't get depleted really quickly.
Yeah.
Trying to let it reset before he's throwing some more. It does build up really rapidly. He doesn't have a blue buff.
I'm just kind of sitting here with a couple of lines drawn, imaginary lines drawn right through the middle, and nobody's crossing it just yet. And here comes some of that damage. It's not really sticking just yet. A bit onto Namgung. Malignant's ticking as well. Namgung gonna get hit by the stun. On top of it, comes down to a smite, and it goes to Gideon. And that's all you have to do, just win the smite fight. Here comes DK, though, running at the Baron.
With how these setups are going, the Infernal Soul is just such a massive boost. For them picking that up, pretty humongous. And gonna make that poke even more devastating. I feel like D+ was starting to get the edge in the poke wars, but now that Shock Blast maybe doing pre-nerf Jace damages. The Lux ult as well. I mean, the thing is, Namgun just doesn't have that much damage in his items, but now the Infernal Soul is just offering that free damage effectively. And interestingly, Teddy's gone for the Bloodthirster fourth, which makes sense given how these scenarios are going. There's not as much sustain on the side of Hanj and Brion. The Seraphine definitely helping out to mitigate some of the poke from the other side.
Yeah. So he's got to build his own sustain. Does mean that he won't get something like an LDR or Mortal Reminder, but not a lot of tanky targets on the opposite side. Biggest one being Lucid with his GA and just being Xin Zhao. But maybe you're not really going to be doing much damage to him anyway, as you don't really want to get melee range as a Caitlyn into that champion. So yeah, we're not having these big flashy engage plays because we just don't have those kind of compositions, especially because both sides really drafted for this. And so it's definitely a thinking man's game at this point.
I love how it is, but there's also like a Vi in the mix who's just would love nothing better than to jump on that Kog'Maw and squish him like a bug.
Hansen's doing a good job pressuring the spot lane.
I mean, he's really far ahead in this matchup. Been picking up a ton of farm. Oh, the Kog'Maw.
Gonna miss that, though, as now TPs are coming in, and Roamer's like, uh-oh. Rough spot for him now, as he might get hit by everything. Look at those ults just raining down. Lucid in an awkward spot here, but he's able to hop over to Roamer with that flash. And that's going to be the kill onto the Bro mid laner. Can they get anything off of the back of that, though?
Roamer thought he had caught Showmaker, but ends up getting caught out himself. Unable to disengage from the situation. Oh no. Ow.
Caitlyn poke.
Yeah, that hurts. Just a little bit. Chiwu's not been having a fun time this game, let's just be honest.
Yeah.
Hasn't been ideal circumstances for him to hop off.
He had that one wall onto Roamer. He
Yeah.
had like some decent walls. It's just like, it's kind of all he's doing.
Vi is... He was in a very deep spot, but he's going to recall now. Didn't find the angle. I was looking at the minimap, and I think Smash just got hit by a Shock Blast and lost a ton of HP. Roma honestly doing a decent job of dodging these ults, but ends up being an exit for Lucid. Lucid managing to avoid the Petrifying Gaze there. But Bro just starting up the Baron.
Yeah.
And the Infernal Soul damage definitely helped them just burn through this so quickly. Lucid's looking though.
Lucid's going in. He's not going to get it. Goes to Cassiopeia. Roamer going to pick that one up. Lucid in the Crescent Guard. Nearly takes out Gideon. Goes down to the GA. Showmaker's really trying his best, but nothing quite going to stick.
Showmaker just rained down so much damage in that situation, but he didn't get a kill. Wouldn't have been a kill anyway, just a GA, but Lucid tries to go for the steal, ends up being unsuccessful, and now down a jungler. Bro can start to push up. This is a very hard team, D+ to push waves into without Baron. So now that they have it, they want to get as much value as possible. Even with Baron, it's looking pretty tricky.
Yeah. But they are going to get it at the end of the day.
Teddy takes some tower hits, but has the Bloodthirster to heal up. You see Smash trying to clear mid, does dodge that Shock Blast, fortunately.
They've left Showmaker by himself to clear the wave in top lane. Understandable. I mean, with a AP Kog'Maw and a Nivea,
Yeah.
it's pretty difficult, even with Baron. But they're not going to stick around for now. They want to get a reset first.
It's a significant Baron power play, but their focus is going to move to the other side of the map for Elder Dragon. Now here, Lucid gets in, ends up somehow being the Cassiopeia who secures it. And then look at Showmaker just spamming ults down, and Gideon has to dash out of it and then dodge all of these. Or he would have just gone to his GA, which wouldn't have been the end of the world, but wouldn't have felt great. Now though, Elder in a minute, and because Hanj and Brion have the Baron, they can kind of push up, force D+ away. As I said before, there's a lot of tools for vision from D+. The Kog'Maw ult can be used to check brushes, the Hawk Shot, a big tool as well. But you're so scared of face checking into this Vi.
Yeah. That's DK's engage right there, by the way. Rocket Belt and Nivea Wall.
That's the tech.
I mean, it can definitely get some good targets, some good flashes out of them. And pushing up as a team, RDK, they're going to get the flash out of casting here. It's exactly what they did for the Infernal Soul Drake, which they did not get.
Oh man, that Shock Blast being dodged. There's so many big damage threats. You see, look, Roma's actually looped round. He's kind of behind them.
Yeah, caught the wave,
Yeah.
I guess.
This is so precarious.
Flanking Cassiopeia.
Castle's just TPing to the base.
Okay. I mean, he's certainly going to get the inhibitor.
He has Baron buff. He can maybe get more if they don't respond. Who's going to respond?
Yeah, like, who's going back, guys?
She was trying to recall, but they can stop him. Guys, your turret, the Nexus
Fuse
turret.
is going to TP.
Okay.
And that's going to save the game. It doesn't feel
Oh,
good.
that damage.
Yeah, the damage is insane. Career extremely low. Now you see Bro, it's like walking a tightrope this entire game. It's really insane. The trap line very important here for Teddy
This
as well.
feels like an ARAM, not just because it's in mid lane, but because this is how ARAMs go, and there's tons of poke on both sides. And the melee champions you just dodging, just playing Dance Dance Revolution, waiting for your moment to do something. It hasn't come yet. She on the flank.
Oh, he kind of came out of nowhere here. Romer trying to turn onto him, flashes over, and now the engage comes in. They found Showmaker, and Gideon finally squishes that Kog'Maw. And now Lucid in a bunch of trouble here as Siu as well goes down. And that might just be it. Big Seraphine just to try to hold on to this game, but I think Casting not going to let that continue. Smash here on the Ashe, not able to do a whole lot. Lucid, the last one to go down, as Teddy will snipe him, and he will have a game number 3 in this series.
That passage of play was so tense as both sides were looking for poke, but eventually Gideon found his angle and just explodes the Kog'Maw and ends the game like that. We will be going to a game 3, and we will see if Hanj and Brion can keep their hopes of Legend Group alive.
Hanj and Brion desperate. They're trying to hold on as much as they possibly can. A nice game from them, essentially answering the poke with poke of their own. The Caitlyn Lux felt like it did pretty well into the Ashe Seraphine bot once again. Was able to get through, and I know that was basically eons ago.
That laning phase was great from the side of Hanj and Brion. Teddy and Namgun doing a fantastic job there. Teddy scaling up to be a monster once again. Ended up going for like the rapid fire and the bloodthirster, which worked really well in those poke situations, got some big headshots. But at the end of the day, the Vi just finding the Kog'Maw was what put an end to the game. And it was a cool pick to see Showmaker bring it out. Definitely works better than the Anivia top did this game. But yeah, you can kind of see the champions were engaging in the poke, and the champions who weren't so much. Lucid with only 8.7k damage was kind of just standing there a lot of the time. But a tense game. But Hanj and Brion, this series is must win for them, and they are taking it to a game 3.
Yeah, we'll see what they can do with that game number 3. D plus Kia in the coaching booth. The CV Max, a lot to go over after that one, as it was definitely winnable for them, but slowly but surely, Bro got little edges and took the win. So it's a series on our hands, 1-1, and we'll be back after the break.
지르자 나만 온 거야.
볼게. 이번에 볼게. 야, 짜부터.
들어가볼게. 네.
아니야, 빨리.
다시 나가서 포킹.
아,
봐줘. 애니비.
야, 코그마 터트리면 안 돼.
야, 코그마 터뜨리면 안 돼.
볼게. 야, 코그마 높여.
형 앞에 봐줄게.
잡았어.
천천히 보자.
천천히.
나 퀴즈
가자, 맞을게.
자, 애니비.
애니비야.
더 올 수 있어?
끝내자. 끝났어.
아, 둘 다 높을. 나 집 빼볼게. 내가 집 빼.
와, 끝났어.
가. 실례. 내가 먹었어. 왔어?
왔어? 미안하다, 얘들아. 날짜.
Right now. But there's still a lot of high-tier picks available. Lucian, Milio, I think in terms of bot lanes, is really up there.
Yeah.
Also, with a lot of these poke-heavy bot lanes gone, Yanara Lulu, I feel like rises up a good amount in terms of priority. So definitely something they could look for. We are going to start off with Nocturne being banned, then Lee Sin. Jungle Pool already thinned a good amount and just got thin more.
Yeah.
Wukong feels pretty high priority right now with what is left available.
Yeah, last time they banned Trundle as well. So I don't think that's going to come through again. So there's potential for another one of those jungle bans or just a different ban to come in its place. So yeah, maybe Wukong, I think, could definitely be a good shout, especially with Vi and Shinzhao now off the board. Lucian was kind of obvious.
And to note, so last game, we had D+ on second pick. This game, they're now on first pick. And they've been second pick all throughout the series so far, up until this game. So we'll have first choice of what they're going to get. After the bans, Lucian going away, I think makes a lot of sense. Definitely a high prio pick, especially paired with the Milio, but even the Nami as well. Elise being banned against Namgun is, again, not letting him get his hands on that one.
I mean, he's a good Elise player, don't get me wrong, but
it definitely feels like one of his more volatile picks.
Yeah, also, it's just not a very meta pick. Like, Namgun is a great support who can also play a lot of other great meta picks to a high level.
It could be they're just banning this because it's something they don't play, it doesn't overlap with champion pools, and they want to leave as many things open as possible to get a strong first pick.
Yeah.
Rise ends up coming through as a ban. Honestly, I feel like Annie Prio would probably be pretty high in this situation. Annie Wukong's obviously really strong, but there were points early in the split where we're seeing like early Annie picks. You could just go for the like there's the Wukong Neferi also picks at a pretty high prio. Karma did get let through though. So that will be first picked.
And Jin is left as well.
Karma Jin, really strong lane. And not a lot of things I think you have available to match into that. Nautilus gone as well. Makes it a little bit troublesome. You can see Teddy talking, discussing, and wanting to deny the Jin, which I think makes a lot of sense. There's no Kate Karma, there's no Civic Karma, there's no Jin Karma. a lot of the Karma pairings we expect to see have been taken away. And it will be that Annie being hovered right now by Hanjin Brion. I think Annie, especially this late in the series, some of the harder lanes have been trimmed away. And having that reliable engage is just really valuable. I think after the last game where we had the poke wars, a go button would be pretty good. I mean, that's what won last game, was the Vi at the end, being able to just lock down the target. So Annie comes through. Question is, what are D+ going to pair the Karma with? And also, are they going to deny the Wukong and pick it up here? Because I feel like if they don't, Hanjin Brion probably just pick it on 3.
Yeah.
So they are going to look to deny the Wukong away, which makes a lot of sense. Also gives you that engage, which you don't have this from the support role. Can obviously speed up the Wukong. And then in terms of AD carries, MF, I feel like
Yunara Karma?
doesn't feel as good as Lulu Yunara, but
Yeah.
I mean, still playable. MF feels like the typical, like, we're just going to have strong lane and you're going to have strong lane and we'll see who strong lane's better.
You got some wombo with the Cyclone if you're going to play MF, but
Looks like they might just go for that Yunara. We have to see the Lulu, because obviously Pick syncs well with it, and then you build Ardent Sensor early. We don't really see Ardent Sensor built on Karma, but they will go for that Yunara here. And now Hanjin Brion, are they going to secure their support in this situation? And what would it be?
yeah. See a lot of
We've seen
Jin Bard.
a bit more Nami just by herself. Like, not Lucian
Jin
Nami or
Nami.
Corki Nami. I mean, it's a decent lane. But it looks like they're going to go towards the jungle first, and then Neferi is going to come through. So they'll have to wait and see for the support pick. But Annie Neferi, pretty scary to be playing a Yunara into this, if I'm being honest. 2 point-and-click champions with the ult from the Neferi and the Q stun from Annie. One of the things we always talk about with Yunara is we often saw when she was really high prio, Nautilus ban before she was played, because point-and-click CC was a big answer. Despite Nautilus and Vi being off the cards, they've built a mid-jungle combo who can deal with it quite well. I think Aurora might get banned here by Hanjin Brion. We have to see the Aurora into Annie, but they're going to ban the Sion first and foremost. Sion and Cassante gone, so 2 of those big tanks out of the way.
Yeah, and in terms of top laners that are, you know, kind of meta and still left, I mean, you got Yorick, who's kind of standing out generally as a response to some of the picks that are already fearlessly banned, but, you know,
Brendan,
it's picked a decent amount.
we have Renekton now. It's the LCK.
Oh, yeah.
We've always got those to get back
Game
to.
3, Fearless.
Honestly, they banned the Gnaw? Wow.
I guess they want to play Renekton.
I mean, they are not
know,
going to have first pick after the ban.
They could also play Zahin.
Ambessa, Shu Ambessa, we've always seen that being pretty great. Did get buffs on this patch,
Yeah.
but we'll see. Didn't get the Aurora ban from Hanjin Brion, which is a little surprising. That has been like the common pick into Annie.
Yeah. Also, anything else with range can be good into Annie, but like Cassio's gone, Victor's gone, Orianna's gone. All good picks into her. So Aurora just seems like, you know, like almost too obvious. Like they definitely should have banned it, but
Alistair
not gonna
ban
happen.
comes through. Obviously, a lot of poke. Oh, the Renekton showing up here.
Casting is elated,
And
I guess.
I mean, with the Gnaw band, it kind of sets you up like, oh, Renekton's good here, but there are other picks that are good into Renekton. Will Shu bring them out? Will we see the likes of Vayne or Kennen?
As long as he doesn't flank on
Or will we
Varus.
pick something like Ambessa or Zahen, which will fall behind early, but scale up to be a pretty hefty bruiser? And it looks like it will be the second option. Never mind, it's Talia. Talia mid coming through. A lot of dashes to deal with, so Neferi and Renekton not going to have the most fun into that.
Notably, Showmaker has not played a single game of Aurora this entire season.
There you go.
So maybe that's part of it. Just totally ignored.
Shu getting some extra time to decide, will it be the bring back the
Yes.
Alawi?
Do it.
And if you think about how this draft has played out, Hanjin Brion are leaning towards we're going to dive your AD carry and kill it.
Nice.
When you're playing into Alawi, Talia, and Wukong, there's so much disruption an anti-dive. If you're trying to get to the Yanara, you have to go through the Unraveled Earth, you have to go through a lot of tentacles, you have to go through a spinning monkey, I guess. It's going to make it difficult. And they add the Nico in as a pick that also provides engage. It's not the best lane to Karma. We've seen the Karma often picked into... Before Karma was perma-banned, Karma was like the answer to Nico. But with the Jhin, it does kind of balance things out. Jhin Nico is going to have pressure over Yunara Karma, unless Yunara can get wave access and stack up a passive. But with how the comps are playing, Hanji and Brianna picked a comp where they want to be decisive, leading the charge, starting the fight, and killing this Yunara. And for the side of D plus Kia, they are just going to cause chaos while you're trying to do that, with a lot of disruption tools as you're diving in and hoping to keep this Yunara alive.
Hey, look, it's Umpty.
That is Umpty. That's the Umpty personal trainer.
Yeah. Legend Group, go, bro win.
They just desperately need this win. And that's the thing. If Hanji and Brion win the series, doesn't mean they're in Legend Group. It just keeps their chances reasonable. If they lose, it feels like a pretty done deal, mathematically still possible, but very hard for Hanji and Brion. So this last game, it's everything for them to get this win.
You never know what's going to happen. Same going into game number 3. We just don't know.
미니언들이 생성되었습니다.
Here we go, Ox.
We said we don't know, but we do know there's going to be League of Legends played, and then one team is going to have the Nexus destroyed, and the other team will be crowned the winner. So we know a little bit.
We just don't know who's going to win.
Well, it's going to be Hanji and Brion or D+, so one of those two. That does narrow it down.
That's true. There's really not a lot of options. Like only 2 teams out of 10?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get like 2v2 in the future.
Like 2v2 teams?
Yeah, 2 teams versus 2 teams. Imagine a 10v10
Oh, and the map,
team fight.
The map would be split in a way where like the lanes go in like 4 different directions towards the base.
Yeah.
Like, each team has like a corner. How would you even match up the lane?
How would you even get 10 players on a roster? There have been some teams that have done that.
They can figure this out for League of Legends too.
Yeah.
Right now, it's still League of Legends 1, so we'll focus in on that. So, good amount of pressure in the top lane, as expected, with Renekton early. Good amount of pressure in the bot lane as well, with this Jhin Nico. And Smash not having the most fun, but obviously going to scale up to be very strong. Going to be interesting to see the jungle impact we get. Obviously, Neferi did get nerfed slightly on this patch, and Wukong got buffed. But I feel like Neferi is just kind of was a little bit slept on by teams, and this is rising in popularity. Originally, it was there as a buy counter, but we're seeing it more and more. And Gideon's found Lucid, and if you can dodge away from the Neferi skill shots, it's pretty big, but the Neferi's pretty scary in these early fights.
Yeah, the support's coming over. It's going to be a smite fight. Goes to Lucid. He's going to win that one. Gets a little shield from Career. And now Career's going to have to flash the wall. There he goes.
Okay, so smite secured by Lucid, but the cost is the flash off his support. Jhin on a pretty huge win streak. Don't show Atlas that.
Yeah, Jhin Nico, specifically this duo.
Yeah.
5 in a row. And now it's going to be Teddy who has to flash away. So a lot of action down at the bottom side of the map already.
Lucid now level 4, so Gideon not really in a position to stick around for this. And he is super far behind in the jungle right now. I mean, it's that thing where Lucid's camps are respawning and they're not there yet, so Gideon has some time to farm. But it basically means that Lucid has a bit of free time, or if he stops this recall, he won't go for it. But could have been very bad.
Yeah, certainly could have, but just opted not to. Stalia picking to the Annie is very interesting. You mentioned all the anti-dive, you know, just trying to help out against all of those different members who are going to be trying, for sure, to dive smash. But this time with Alawi, with Talia, with Wukong as well, it's going to be more difficult.
Certainly is. You see Gideon clearing through his top side now, and is still, I mean, he's still behind because Lucid's camps have now respawned. He's clearing through those. End result is we could see Lucid getting a level 6 very early on this Wukong. And I think a big aspect of the buffs were the clone being changed to have more duration and more damage. Sort of, because it does reduce damage compared to the Wukong himself.
Yeah.
So when you get that ult available, represents a lot of threat. Also, the attack speed on E got buffed, so Lucid able to clear faster result and is now challenging Gideon on his camps. Gideon did get that one. It's kind of being forced away. Lucid level 5 already, and with a buy, notably. So Gideon had to go straight to his camps to farm. Lucid has a Ruby Crystal and a Longsword on him. You see Teddy hitting the camp to try and pull it away and sort of use the aggro tether, so Lucid would be a bit frustrated dealing with it, but Lucid just moves straight back to his jungle, doesn't miss a beat.
Teddy probably going to miss 2 CS? No, 3 CS to do that. I mean, maybe he was going to be zoned away anyway, but yeah, kind of frustrating situation all around here for Teddy and crew over in Hanjin Breon.
Yeah, they had that early momentum, but as things are bouncing back, Smash, with access to the wave, has his passive stacked up. And Yunara is one of those picks that the extended trade you do really well in, because when you have your Q stacked up, it's a lot of damage, a lot of sustained damage. Jhin is not the extended trade guy. Anytime you're trading and you have to reload in the middle of it, it doesn't feel too great.
Yeah, I'd say just the fact that he has to reload doesn't feel great, but specifically... Yeah, who decided to make Jhin like an FPS character?
I don't know. It is a cool concept, though. And at least they didn't change a different champion into that, like with Graves.
Well, you know, I just feel like, you know, if you play FPS, one of the most annoying parts of it is having to reload, right? Just not a fan of reloading in general.
Do you think they should make it so the more
unlimited bullets,
the more attack speed he has, the quicker he reloads?
Yes.
Would that be balanceable?
No. I think it would heavily change the way that he's played, though. I mean, it just really, I don't know. It would just kind of be weird in his kit if he had that.
Also, I feel like it wouldn't be, it still wouldn't be super high value to build attack speed, because essentially you're not actually getting the damage out faster. I mean, over the course of a fight, sure, but you're still hitting the shots at the same speed, which is pretty slow.
Yeah.
But it would feel better when people go rapid fire cannon early every single game.
And Youmuu's in Storm Razor.
And Youmuu's doesn't have any attack speed on it, so that one's kind of whatever.
Yeah. Just that build. Well, one of the variations of that build, I could see. This has always been very annoying. How did he... That was kind of crazy.
Renekton has a tail.
I guess so.
Grabbed his tail.
Yeah.
Also, when you're dashing, hitboxes are weird, if I'm going to be honest. There is some times where you're dashing and your hitbox, like your character looks like you're there, but your hitbox is actually not there or behind or whatever. But anyway, Dragon going to be started up by D+ here. We saw the momentum built up by Smash and Korea, and it's allowing their jungler to pick up an early Dragon. Ocean Chemtech? Brendan.
Wow.
We're guaranteed a good soul.
Yeah. I mean, even... I don't even want to say even. I feel like Cloud Soul is actually pretty good. There are some comps that are a little bit less good with it, but Cloud Soul was really good. I feel like for both comps, to be honest.
I would agree.
Wukong is very happy about it.
So we'll see what that ends up being, but I definitely think it ups the priority on that. Oh, Shiwu looking for an ult. Did a good amount of damage, despite having not built damage. Just Alawi things.
I feel like Alawi's strong enough to just take the chain vest and hit someone with it, you know? Use it like a weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does look like when she swings the thing, she's swinging it quite aggressively.
What is that thing anyway? It's like a ball.
Oh, it's some...
Is it like something that contains the souls of the tentacles, which are like kind of ghostly?
You know what?
Right?
I don't know, but I'm just going to say yes. There's definitely a
pretty cool concept.
There's a more specific lore, and the answer is probably not that, or not exactly that. But we'll just go with yeah, sure, why not?
I don't know. I've been randomly correct about some of those things.
All three of the Alawi mains out there are currently like, guys, come on. Do you not know the Alawi?
Yeah, all
lore?
three of them.
All three of them.
There's
Well, actually,
not even dozens of them.
no,
It's just three.
maybe only two are upset. One of them's like, yeah, fair enough.
Because he's a hipster, because he plays Alawi, and, you know, it would make sense that we wouldn't know. Yeah, this is a very extended trade, but now Gideon's here, so I think Shu just kind of dies. There's no ult available, so he's just clearing the wave, and that is finally First Blood right at 10 minutes.
10 minutes on the dot. Iceborne Gauntlet comes in for Shiwu to do some punching, but Cyclo Sword for Gideon, an item that got made a little bit more expensive on this patch, so that extra gold is going to do nicely to have him finish it off. But an item that syncs very well with Neferi, especially because you can poke with it. And also, like, it strengthens your bleeds after you hit them with the boosted lethality. This was what I like to call plate greed. We've all been there. You can't deny it. We've all seen a little plate with some overgrowth on and thought, couldn't I just walk up and take it? And then the jungler turns up and you have a bad time. So, you know what? I can't fault you for this because I've done the same. You've done the same, Brendan.
Yeah.
Who hasn't?
Absolutely.
Who hasn't done such a thing?
I mean, if you have that much self-control, you're probably not playing League of Legends.
Whoever hasn't taken a plate like that and died may cast the first stone.
I mean, I blame Riot because they made them more enticing with the overgrowth.
You know what it is? It's the audio. It's like Heartsteel. Heartsteel could give nothing. It could give no health, but you know I still want to hear the noise.
Yeah, you want to get the bonk.
Yeah, if they made that sound just not satisfying and repulsive, it could give 1,000 health. I'm like, whatever.
I do feel like, you know, at least 40% of the fun that I have in ARAMs is building Heartsteel and proccing it.
Yeah.
I play a lot of tanks, so it kind of makes sense. Or stuff that can build it. So that's almost half the fun. It's just hitting people with Heartsteel.
Only half?
Yeah.
Give me tank engine.
Tank engine.
Okay, well, it's after that riveting first kill, it has slowed down a little bit.
Yeah. That was it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Watching that first kill happen.
Do have support item completions coming in. And everyone's kind of getting their first item completions pretty much. But that second dragon is coming up. I do think this should be a point of contention because, as we said earlier, these two dragons kind of set up for a strong soul. Korea already has Echoes of Helia, which is a big spike. I think everyone thinks about like carry items coming in. But one item spike, Echoes of Helia, is kind of crazy. The healing you get from that in a fight or a skirmish at this point of the game where people don't have that much damage, and you'll be able to proc it so many times over the course of a fight. So it is legitimately a pretty big pickup, and D+ already have the first dragon, so they could be in a good spot to set up for this, although...
We kind of had a little action there, I mean.
Yeah, they were looking there for Namgoon, who just healed to get away. But they're playing very aggressively around the dragon area, setting up vision here. They have full tabs on Gideon, and they are fully locked in on this dragon, want to secure it.
Yeah, it's a really big deal. I mean, dragon stacking, ever since the beginning of this year, very, very strong.
We've seen this lane really turn in favor of Korea and Smash. You know, the early prio went to the Jhin, Nico, but now just Karma things. Karma Nico being a really rough matchup for the Nico. And then as soon as you start to give wave access to the Yunara, she ends up doing pretty well. Now, Dragon going to be started by Lucid. You see Gideon moving over. Can he get there in the time is the question.
I think it's just too late, unless he's going to hop at the pit and just kind of blindly steal. It's a Mountain Soul.
Can't go wrong with a Mountain Soul.
Yep, all reliable.
All reliable.
That is the vibe of Mountain Soul, you know? It's
Yeah.
kind of like, well, everybody can use it.
I mean, for sure. I think, obviously, people talk about tanks getting the extra resistances, but I feel like on squishies, the shield is just so valuable because like a tank, you go in, the shield gets cleared, and then they start working the rest of your health. But if you can deny like an Annie or an Efiri one-shot because you have a Mountain Shield, that's huge. That's game-winning.
Maybe we'll see some Serpent's Fang action in this game.
Oh, from Gideon. That'd be
Yeah.
good tech. Although, you know what would be better tech? Don't let them get Mountain Soul. But I do think this game, there's good value because there's a Calm on the other side. So
Yeah.
may well see him go towards that. But we often see them go a little bit more Bruiser first on the Neferi. Just to have some bulkiness. Level 11 hit there by Lucid.
Oh, he got the slow coming in here from Teddy. This is going to be the force barrier. Just naturally, as he was left alone.
Poke coming down from D+ here. And you can tell Gideon wants to try and find an angle, but just not seeing it yet.
You know, Bro has been pretty good about upping the tempo and being proactive.
This is more of a Bro and Brew. But they are looking now.
Yeah. I hope they're not falling back into bad habits. Game 2 kind of made sense with the way that one was playing out in the comps, but there's certainly ways to make some plays here on this one. As the wall is going to come in, and it's going to be DK who pull the trigger first, as that is going to be the route onto the Wukong clone and not actually the Wukong. As he gets in, takes out his other jungler. As Teddy's just ulting in the face of Xiu, is going to have to cancel that one, or just throw in the fourth shot and back away. And posturing very aggressively was Bro. They get punished for it.
They just get focused down. Roma ends up kind of out of position, gets targeted. Gideon doesn't get to do much. And considering Bro need to win on the back of their strong engage, finding the right targets, they definitely did not achieve that there. It was really D+. So Roma's on this flank angle and then kind of panics because he's like, well, my best target's Lucid, but it's so hard to stun the Wukong. Lucid just jumps on a Gideon and basically one-shots it.
Yep.
Not typically that easy to chase down on the Neferi, but Lucid finds a great angle. And then after the fact, she was in the face of them, so tanky. Jin needs so many reloads to kill him. How many clips?
Well, he used the whole ult clip, so not really gonna have another one of those for a while. Roamer, yeah, he's just gonna get slapped.
You know what that felt like? I've got to say, you know what that felt like?
Yeah.
We don't see Alawi much. That felt like Roma not really getting the vibe of Alawi. When he got ulted, he was getting whacked by the tentacles, his soul got like consumed, and then he walked back up. And I was like,
Brother.
well, he will just flash W. That's gonna happen.
That was my best Fox impression, by the way. Brother. You say that all the time. For people who do things incorrectly.
I do, actually.
Yeah.
So yeah, the thing is he burns the stun before he even has aggro. Gets the satisfying crystalline overgrowth noise. Ult, and then he just walks back up, eats the tentacles.
Xiu doesn't even say anything. It's another day of Alawi for him.
Yeah. This is textbook for him. Oh, they're looking for him now.
I mean, he's level 14. He's pretty tanky, but they're going to throw a lot of things at him, even Namgung from behind. TP eventually does come in, as Showmaker's like, wait, I'm not sure about this, actually. There's a big crocodile right next to me. And eventually he will die to Gideon, it looks like. Never mind. Didn't even get the assist.
Not quite getting in range in time to get the damage down, but casting with a TP flank ends up being a couple of kills for Hanjin Brion needed with the position in the game. That being said, losing Roma means it's not a huge advantage built up. 20 seconds on this Dragon, though. And a lot of ultimates just got used, specifically from Hanjin Brion's side. You look on the other side, There's a lot still available, so they look here for Shiwu, and it just takes so much time to cut through him. Namgoon was there to try and help, but didn't really contribute much, to be honest. They eventually get him, but then the TP flank from the Renekton is the big factor, denying Lucid from going deeper, making sure Showmaker dies, but Teddy walked up, so a bit of damage done to the mid lane tower in return. But now when we take stock, with his Dragon up and available, Casting has no ult. Gideon, his ult's not up yet, Tibber's not quite available. I would have expected D+ to immediately beeline for this Dragon and start setting up for a fight, but instead, neither team going too aggressively.
Yeah. Shiwu has 2 items. I think he was just trying to aggressively trade and chop Casting down, force him to back.
Casting needs a reset to buy sooner rather than later.
Well, he thought about it, and then he stopped us back.
Smash already has Kraken Slayer and Fiend Hunter bolts, so he's pretty strong right now.
Yeah, I mean, Cass's gonna stick around, and they want to gank him, but
they're sacrificing Dragon.
They're gonna give away the Dragon.
Yeah, not sure I agree with this.
And this is Alawi as well. I mean, this isn't the easiest gank to go for, as I suppose if you burst her down quick enough, you can take him, but D+ Kia just saying, you know what, we're just going to push mid.
Yeah, not even going straight for the Dragon. They'll push mid. Can they get the second tower? No. Okay, but it's close.
Take the Dragon, guys.
The thing is, they got most of the gold from it with those plates, and they get Dragon. This is not a good play from Hanji and Brion.
Yeah, what about that Bracro that Wolf was talking about?
Yeah, you could have just
not seeing it.
You could have just let the top tower go, and you could have just immediately gone to fight around the Dragon instead. I know the ults were down, but D+ weren't really rushing for it, so I think you would have been able to buy time. This play they're going for here, it just sacrifices too much. And Shiwu isn't strong enough to 1v3. He is very scary, but doesn't quite have that in him. But it just buys such a huge win on the rest of the map for D+. Third Dragon completed, so 1 away from Soul. Got a sizable gold lead as well. Mid lane has been just pummeled through with only 1 sliver of HP on that tier 2 tower. Not the right decision making, I would say.
Yeah.
Now they're going to do it again.
What if they gank him again?
And you know what?
Is it worth now?
Well, there's no Dragon on the other side of the map.
But there is Baron.
Perhaps there could be something else on the other side of the map.
All right, well, they're going to TP in the Renekton. Maybe this is enough. Guys, spoiler, it's not enough. Guys, it's not enough. D+ Kia get a free Baron. And, okay, maybe not free. They're going to lose their Alawi. They're going to lose their mid lane turret, maybe. And now D+ Kia are on the chase. Red Bull Baron power play going to be started up here very early on. Bracro.
It's the global taunt of the Alawi, apparently. But yeah, this Bracro is falling apart. D+ just objective blind, I think is what we call it. They just cannot see the Dragons or the Barons. They're just laser focused on kills right now. And it is a bit of a questionable decision, I think. Well, I know, but a little bit frustrating. I feel like the game was in a playable spot and they just focused down on dealing with this Alawi. Well, I'm going to be honest, like the second time, like the first time, it's like you're going to lose that top tower if you don't deal with the Alawi. But it wasn't that healthy anyway, and it's now dead regardless. But the second time, Shiwu hadn't even pushed the lane. There was no threat. There was no, oh no, we have to deal with Alawi because he's going to kill our towers or something. Also, it's an Alawi. It's not like some Giga split pusher who just one-hits towers. Yeah, so questionable plays.
Yeah. I guess they were just like, well, we have TP on Casting. Surely they can't do the Baron.
Surely they can't do the Baron if every single member of the team, apart from one, shows up in the bot lane. Okay, well, it's not the hugest lead for D+. 3,000 is significant, but not the end of the world. 2 minutes from Dragon Soul. Guys, I know Alawi's in the top lane.
That's a problem.
Please do not try and kill the Alawi instead of contesting the Dragon.
I mean, D+K are just going to have so much pressure now with this Baron for quite a while. It's not going to quite immediately transition into the Dragon fight, but they'll have a lot of pressure on the map. I mean, you can see already the vision is quite deep from just having this Baron buff and the map control that they do have. I'm going to be taking a lot of damage.
That's a lot of poke. That tower is gone. You have to let it go. 40 seconds still on the Baron. They are... Now this Alawi is being a problem. Doesn't have Baron at least, but is pushing up mid and being annoying.
Yeah, she was living his best life. Get ganked a bunch of times, who cares? Playing Alawi, eventually he will kill them. If they keep trying to do that. They're going to find a Talia, and Showmaker in a bit of trouble. He's going to have to flash out of there. Lucid also blocking some of those shots. Now they're going in onto Smash, who's very isolated from the rest of the team, but a TP comes in, and he's able to kite it out. That Tibbers it's kind of just dropped for no reason. A zoning Tibbers, perhaps.
They're so scared of this Alawi that Shivu TP's in and they all just scatter immediately. Which, I mean, I get it. You don't want to be overextended with an Alawi behind you. But they try and find an angle. They get Showmaker's flash, at least, which is something. And now 45 seconds until the Dragon. Alawi's not even top lane yet, so there's no excuse to be heading up there. Showmaker gets super low, but then Lucid comes in to block the shots. So you see Teddy turn it onto the bot lane. The Smash not quite in range. And this is the point where they're like, guys, Alawi's coming. Run. Everyone run. And they do. And they get away. And now we're going to go back to live, and they're going to be focused around the bot side. This is good. This is progress. They're going to fight the Dragon. They are quite behind, though.
Yeah, they're behind, and they're desperately trying to clear out vision to make their way towards this objective in the first place. It's not an easy feat. You can see that Career's coming in here with the help of Lucid and just clearing out a lot of this vision. And laying down control wards in their face as well. Just essentially saying, no, 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 no vision for you.
Oh, Alawi's behind them.
Uh-oh.
Could be. Isn't going to be.
Yeah, you can see Renekton TP's in the bot. They have to stick together as a 5-man unit.
Yeah, I thought they were going to cut them off with the Alawi. Now Casting's fishing. Remember, Bro's composition wants to be the ones diving in, but there's a lot of things that shut that down and make it difficult. So we'll see if they find some headway. Right now, D+ are playing from an area with... Hanjin Brion don't really have vision.
Amun's already taking a lot of damage here from the Alawi. He is very key. They're just going to go in on a roamer with the Cyclone. Does a bit of damage, but that's not really the angle you were looking for in the team fight here, Lucid. Just trying to poke them out, essentially. Teddy has to flash the Slurkle, so that's going to be a Jhin down his summoner. Casting taking an immense amount of damage, and now Showmaker, no flash. They're trying to collapse on him, as they will take down Showmaker. Meanwhile, Shu is right on top of Teddy, who can't dodge everything. They're trying to peel now for the Alawi, but how can you do that? It's Alawi at the end of the day. Flashes over everything. And the rest of the team is right there to follow up on Shu, who gets the big-time flank and does 5k damage.
Shiwu just dunks on Teddy. He's fumbling with the bullets. He's dropping them on the floor, and Alawi is just slamming in his face. Hanjin Brion, some questionable decisions this game. Now just lose a big fight, and D+, they're going to push into the enemy base. They're going to pick up Mountain Soul, and this game's looking pretty done. In this situation, they're just getting a lot of poke down consistently in this situation, and Showmaker has no flash, so eventually they look for him. You see Casting trying to kind of go for that as Lucid ults in, but I feel like D+ were pretty patient in this situation. Showmaker's poking down the Renekton, and eventually Namgun manages to find this angle in. And yeah, they managed to kill the Talia, but look at Shiwu on the bottom left. Just runs at Teddy. There's Teddy stuck below. Like, he's running in circles. Gets the bullets back, but look, it just isn't even enough. Another reload still doesn't kill Shiwu, and the tentacles just murder him. This is nightmare fuel for a Jhin, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what you're supposed to do in this situation. I don't have the answers, but it just got a whole lot worse because there's now a Mountain Soul in the enemy team. You don't have Serpent's Fang yet, and you know, Teddy only has a limited number of bullets.
Yeah.
Before he's fumbling with a new set, a new magazine.
Yeah.
And
I mean, they have a lot of pick potential, Dubro, but I think from behind, you know, you kill a Talia, there's still a Yunara.
I mean, also,
and an Alawi. And burst damage is not good into Alawi.
Has 4 items now. Smash has a shield bow, and Barrier, and Flash, and the Karma, and Mountain Soul.
Yeah.
And Jimbrion, even if they're ahead, they are a bursty composition with like limited amount of damage. If you're ahead enough, then it's fine, right? You just kill them before you run out of damage. But when you're behind, like we know they can't kill Shibu quickly. I don't even know if they can kill Smash quickly at this point.
Trying to get an angle as Namgung, but...
Like, look at that shield.
And meanwhile, look at the bottom lane. Namgung gonna get extremely low. I feel like there's been so many times where he's trying to find angles and he just takes half his health and damage because he's so squishy. Gideon kind of in an awkward spot here. Cyclone immediately, he does get over the wall, but the follow is there from Lucid to just immediately go down. The reset goes over to Gideon. He's gonna be looking for Smash, but he is immediately gonna die. And now look and see who he's on the flank with Showmaker. And everybody's just scattering once again, trying to kite him out. This time they're going to do a good job, but meanwhile, casting goes down. And now they're going to get the catch as Roamer does hit the deck, and Teddy's all alone on the backside of this one, running away from a Karma. And I think it's just enough. DK have the wallets, and they should be able to push and win this game.
Yep, only the Nico alive against 4 members of D+. Showmaker TPing him with the Rabadons. This is it. This is game. And this is Bro's chances going to nearly 0 of making the Legend group.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. They had such a nice streak going, but head-to-head with D+ Kia. D+ Kia prove that they are the better team in a 3-game series, as they don't lock in Legend group off of this, but they are going to make it much, much easier to make it in after this win and beating their direct opponent for that slot.
Pretty huge match here from D+. You know, there's been some moments during the season where I think confidence was a little shaky. I think not always having the results I'd hoped for. But when it came down to it, when it matters the most, they managed to secure a big win. They have another match later this week against B&K Fear X, which will just further amplify their chances if they win that. But things are looking pretty secure to have them in that top 5 on the back of this.
CSU very happy he's able to play his Alawi once again. As Lucid's like, all right, you know, I did my job. He had a good Wukong game. There was that, I suppose you could call it a whoopsie, where he went a little bit deep to get that kill onto Gideon and ended up dying, but at the end of the day, like, they just had so many threats and they were very far ahead, so essentially him going in is just forcing a fight. Even if he dies, it's not the end of the world. And for Bro, it's definitely going to be disappointing, where you can kind of taste greatness, and Career says, nah, take a seat. You're not a Legend group team yet. And maybe Bro aren't. And maybe they still make road to MSI. Who knows what can happen. I mean, they're not out of Legend group just yet. As you've mentioned, there's still a chance for them to beat some really strong teams and make it in. Would require DK to lose some matches as well. And Zonx is really struggling with the POM selection.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to figure it out. It's tricky. It's definitely tricky. You know, maybe these moments will help me process and think.
Yeah. I mean, we just saw that Bro they were just mind controlled by the Alawi almost.
Yeah.
I don't know what she has in that ball that she hits people with, but it seems very effective. That's really all I could say on the matter. And they dove her here, and you know, meanwhile there's a Baron going over to the side of D+ Kia. They try to dive on a Showmaker, but this time, when perhaps they should have protected Teddy, they were not.
This is really difficult. I'm really struggling.
Yeah. It's pretty difficult. I don't really have any good ideas either. It did feel like a team effort from the side of D+ Kia. So,
이거 필이야?
나 필이 볼게. 나 필이.
you could go Career. He had that Bard pick, right?
Yeah. You know what? I think
It's probably like Career or Lucid.
나 필이. 나 필이.
Lucid had like a good Wukong game, and he also had like the Jarvan, but Jarvan was very much like enabled by Career in game 1 at least.
해봐.
I think Career's a good vote, to be honest.
yeah. It's just challenging because I think a lot of the team had really good moments, but it wasn't the cleanest series either.
Yeah.
시야 바텀에 텔 타봐.
But you know what? It's so weird. I'm in such indecision when I'm deciding, and then I put the paper down. And you're like, you know what? I feel good about it. I just relax up and I feel good. Yeah, we'll see if it's a. I don't think it will be. But if it's a 12 out of 13 and I'm the lone one, then you know what, Brendan? You're complicit. So
I don't think it's possible, to be honest.
Yeah, we might be waiting a little bit for the palm because someone apparently I'm hearing someone put their vote in very late.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know who that could have been.
yeah, I don't know who that could have been.
Let's blame Wadded. It's going to be Showmaker, as he did have that great Victor game. I don't think his Kog'Maw and Talia games were that great, but
I think Talia was fine. I think Kog'Maw struggled a little bit to make the impact he wanted. So. Yeah, I
wouldn't have voted
I
for
considered Showmaker, but I also considered every single player on the team, and I considered just killing into a ball and crying because I couldn't decide. So.
I mean, you know, I don't get to do Palmet very often, and nowadays I actually don't do it at all. But like, I used to just do process of elimination, right? And I would have gone like, well, it's not Showmaker, and I don't think it's Smash, and it's probably not Shiyu, and that's kind of like I would have ended up with Career and Lucid personally.
Yeah, but then Shiyu just had like the global taunt, but then the Anivia game was a bit rough. But then the Kasante game was pretty good. Oh, okay. Look, you know what?
I think it's a career angle, to be honest.
The Bard play was pretty big. Yeah, justice for support. Someone said that before. Some great person, and we should definitely embody that.
Some very knowledgeable guy who just really cares about all the other supports out there.
And is super decisive with his POM votes.
Absolutely.
Definitely not holding everyone up.
You know, I'm really curious about the votes. What about Wadid? He's our support here on the broadcast.
I mean, I think his identity is the bro guy more than anything.
True.
Oh, he's probably devastated after this. I feel so bad for him. He so passionately cares about bro. I hope the other people in the space,
can't win it all.
Wolf and Degon, do their best to cheer up with it. He's obviously going to be upset about this.
Consider his big investment in bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, what are you going to do? Guys, we do have an interview now with Showmaker on the stage. Let's throw it over to Deer for the translation of the POM interview.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Deer for the POM interview translation. We are here joined by Showmaker on the side of D plus Kia. Congratulations! You defeated 6th place Hanjin Brian, which means you defended your 5th place spot. How do you feel? You know, today's match was so crucial for us to move forward with, but I'm just really happy that we are able to win today, and I want to keep our streak. And you actually left a lot of OP champions during Game 1, like Orianna, Rumble, and Ezreal. So what was your approach with that draft? I can't share all the details, but I think it was just based off of our own data in the team. And, you know, our head coach is actually such a Victor expert that he gave me a lot of tips on how to face Orianna as Victor, and that helped a lot. And in Game 1, after the intense trades back and forth, you guys closed out the game with an ace at the Baron teamfight, and the enemy Ezreal got so fed and had some spooky highlights. So how did you manage to find a breakthrough? Yeah, Ezreal was so OP and he scaled really well, but I just knew that as long as we killed the Ezreal that we would be able to win. So as we saw and caught him after he used his E, we were able to catch him really well. And so, what about your Kog'Maw pick? We haven't seen that in 11 years. Yeah, I mean, Casio is actually a really trendy pick right now, and against that, I just wanted to go with like a handshake champion. So honestly, I had a really fun game there, but obviously it was a disappointing defeat. So I think I just have to play better. Yeah, so what was the feedback after that? I think we talked about the draft and the comps, and we were just talking about how difficult the game was, and you know, just how to play with for our jungler. And what about why don't we play a balanced game? What do you think? Would you choose between Cho'Gath and the other Void champions? I think Cho'Gath is cuter, so I pick Cho'Gath. And in game 3, we got she was Ilaoi, and it felt like you guys handed the Renekton over to the enemy. So was he just confident that he can win against the Renekton? You know, I actually am a aspiring Ilaoi player too, and after listening to Siu, I actually played her a lot, but you know, I think Renekton is such a difficult matchup, but I feel like he just happens to be really good with Ilaoi that, you know, he was able to have a good time during the laning phase. And lately, you guys have been experimenting with a lot of different picks, so are there more to come? I mean, after playing that Zyra and Kog'Maw, I just feel like I have reached the point where there's really no champion that I cannot play on stage anymore. And yeah, I think we have our own philosophy, but you know, obviously we had a disappointing result, so I think for my next pocket pick, I will prepare well. So, looking at today's series as a whole, what is your feedback? I just want to go back and play another game of Kog'Maw. I just want to replay that. Well, we look forward to the next time you're able to pull your Kog'Maw out then. And we're heading into the end of round 2, and D plus Kia needs to lock in Legend Group. You got Furex, Kium DRX, and Nongshim left to face, so what is your mindset? Just want to make sure that we stack more wins for the remaining matches so that we are able to join the Legend Group. We will try our best. And lastly, anything you would like to say to your fans? You know, I'm always grateful for all the support that our fans send us, and I guess I'll just show you my new picks in the future. And that is all from Showmaker, and back to the space. Thank you.